Oh, fuck, man. Hey, that's crazy. I just randomly woke up and all of a sudden YouTube said I had a live stream going. Shit, I guess I'll stream. May as well. What's good, motherfuckers? We live up in this bitch. I'm about to say motherfucker and shit and fucking damn as much as I can before monetization because I'm gonna have to scale back on that. For right now, I'm cussing up a storm. And how y'all doing today? I gotta say that last chapter was fire. Should have done a live reaction. I did not, but it's fine. Last chapter was phenomenal. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, who's Sue we got here? I know we had Roni earlier. We're talking about TK. Oh, Clout Demon, Tyler, T Riv, Demi. Yeah, 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 yeah. What's going on, guys? Man, I'm gonna get some folks in here. But first, I want to talk about the greatness of that chapter. Probably about eight and a half to nine. It's really good, great development. Future Pirate King. It was dope. It was super good. Um, I'm gonna talk about it with everybody else, but I'm gonna analyze the chapter with you guys first. I want to talk about this color spread. This color spread right here. It's beautiful. The chilling on top of a gorilla, on eight. The chilling on top of Hemmings. Nami and Luffy are mess with the banana. But then you got Chopper without a hat. Chopper without a hat is one of the most terrifying things I have ever seen in my life. This would kill all merchandising sales. Chopper is ugly as shit without a hat. Like, he just looks so wrong, bro. Facts, Obama. Hemming made it to the color spread. It looks so wrong. But everything else is good. Other than that, everything else is great. And it opens up, where we left off with everybody facing off against the Udon Mine Pirates. And of course, Luffy and all them were whooping their ass. They're fucking them up. But, got Babanuki is still shooting these excitement bullets at everyone and spreading the plague. Chopper and Luffy being relevant. I like that. Swordsman, Yogoro, Okiku, and Kawamatsu just taking out everybody. Kawamatsu's just the boss. I love Kawamatsu. Kawamatsu's easily become one of my favorite characters with relative ease. Lightning Shuriken, that was cool to actually see Raizo do something. But I don't know if you guys have seen my thumbnail. You've got Eustace Kid still frowning over Killer. Eustace Kid looked like he just got bullied and like somebody threw the apple that he was eating for lunch at his head. Man looks sad, bro. Man looks hella sad. Killer is still fucked up. Can't stop laughing because he was tortured and the smile was being given to him. And Kid is just watching. I don't know if it's jealousy, awe, or just complete disappointment in himself, how he's watching Luffy and others react, but they seem to be full of hope, and Kid seems to be completely shattered. And we found out the name of the excitement bullets and the disease within the bullets is called the mummy virus. It's crazy. It's pretty crazy. Um, Moving on. The prisoners were set against Luffy and everyone, but both Babanuki and Old Maid because their spirit is crushed. They don't know who this nigga Luffy is. He's a random guy. They don't really understand his relevance of being here. You're random. You ruined everything for us. We're already suffering. Now we're suffering twice as hard due to these excitement bullets and you showing up. Everything that you're doing is basically ruining our lives to the 10th degree. They went as far as to quote, "You will not beat Kaido. You cannot win against that flying dragon and those beast pirates. They are an immovable force that you can do nothing against." I understand that. The shit is, but Luffy and the glory of him and being the great leader that he is, and our future Pirate King, being phenomenal, hugs them all. And it was reminiscent of Whitebeard and Squad. He said, "Stop right there, all of you. What overwhelming power? Something like this has no effect at all as age spreads throughout his body, taking it all full brunt. Is this what you call normal daily life? Is doing every little thing they say and receiving dungos or what you call? You all are just slaves. Tell them Martin Luffy King. Martin Luffy King, my brothers. Who cares if I'm outside? I made a promise that Tama would eat as much as she wanted to. We're here to defeat Kaido." And after that, Babanuki tries to snake him, puts a 200 gram excitement bomb into his nose. And here's the kicker. Luffy sees it coming, sees the future, says, "I saw a slightly dangerous future," twists him up, and a 99% chance that that old maid is dead. It's phenomenal. I love it. The panel is great. I should have used that panel as my thumbnail. Iconic as hell. Old maid is done. Luffy gives the All Might point. Martin Luther King goes in. Monkey Nelson D. Mandela, I agree, JD Legend, and says, "The rest is up to you, my brethren," and ignites hope in everyone. Phenomenal chapter, 9 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell me what you guys thought about the chapter in the chat, and I'm going to get some of these folks in here. Because that was an amazing chapter. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So let's bring the posse, and let's get to chatting. I wish I could have did a video on it, but I'll work out the logistics on that at some point. I will still probably do a video on it. It was just a great chapter. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I know it'll probably take them a while to get in here because, black folk always late. None of them know what punctuality means. Hey, what's going on? Who's that? That Mother?
It's Madara.
Madawa.
What's good? What's good?
Nothing much, my man. Talking about this phenomenal chapter.
Chapter was dope.
Chapter,
10
right?
out of 10.
I was close. I got a 9.
10.
Very close, though.
10 out of 10.
I mean, you can very well give it a 10, man. I thought it was great.
The
I see nothing wrong with that.
Oda stepped his game up finally.
Hell yeah. The shading was phenomenal.
And gave us a beautifully drawn panel of Luffy with the virus going through him, and with him telling those guys to man up and revolt.
Just the sacrifice. I don't know. I just really appreciate everything about the entire scene. Oh, what is this new Twitter? I don't like this. What have you done to Twitter? What is this?
Really, what are you talking about?
Twitter has a new laptop layout, man. It's atrocious. I don't recognize shit. Are you driving? I'm guessing. Are you driving? Mother. Yo, what's going on? What's up, Hans? Can both of you not hear me?
I can hear you, but I got background noise, so I muted myself for a minute.
Appreciate you. Hans in lost translation. Let's see. Some EOS has just arrived.
What's up, man?
Nothing much, dude. Praise the Oda, man. Giving him the praise he deserves.
My
Yo,
man
boy,
said
you always hang
9
around me
out
like
of
every day.
10. My man Vergo said it was a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, man. What's wrong
What
with that?
chapter? This chapter?
Yeah, great
This
chapter.
chapter, it was a
9 out of 10 for what?
okay
What
chapter.
happened?
A
I'm gonna clear
9
this
out of
one.
10, bro. Like that to me seemed like cap. You know what I mean? Like,
Yo, I
What?
don't know what happened for it to be a 9 out of 10 out again. I think you capping, bro.
Are you serious?
No, a lot of
I'm
things
dead ass.
happen.
I'm dead ass. Like, look, are those moments? Is that moment with Luffy very cool? Absolutely. Will it be? I think it'll be a 9 out of 10 when it's animated. Absolutely, because it's an impactful moment. But the chapter overall isn't that
We didn't gain anything
exciting.
from it, bro.
Yeah, it's not.
Are you
It's not
serious?
so exciting that I could give it a 9
Oh.
out of 10.
Well, okay,
Absolutely.
what did you gain from this, Virgo? That's what I want to ask.
Let's see. So we finally swayed all the prisoners to be on his side.
But
He's
you
won their
really
hearts.
want to do that, though. Like,
He's shown his own character development and showing that how great of a leader he is. That he's obviously continued. He'd been going through links before, but obviously he would have his reserves on some things. But he was all in with this one and is trusting the scabbards to go on everything here on 4 out, and that he'll be fine. That they'll have his back and he'll be
Like,
healed.
but this isn't.
are
This
you
isn't
describing his
like a
character? Like, that's nothing new to me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this isn't necessarily like a new aspect of Luffy that we're seeing. We know that this isn't Luffy. So to see again, it's a nice moment when it does happen, but it's not new or
Yeah,
exciting
no
by any means. I
groundbreaking
don't.
shit, yo.
No.
Yeah.
This is different. He thought about this. There's Luffy going into the thick of it, not caring and doing things that are brain dead, like going after Kaido. That'll end up eventually having him come into ruin. But these are things like this that are character development in which he's jumping in, but he's not jumping in just to jump in. He's jumping in for a bigger purpose, for a bigger meaning.
Yeah, but this
But
is
they've been
not.
playing it
This
for
is
a
not.
while. We knew
This
about it.
is
It's not like,
this.
this
This
chapter.
What do we know about? How did you think that Luffy was getting ready to sway them?
Virgo. This is
How
not.
he plays everybody. What are
Hold
you
on.
talking about?
Hold on, EOS. Virgo. Like, this is like you're acting like Luffy did this with the foresight to know if I do this, I'm going to bring all of these people onto my side. Like, that's not what happened here.
He did this with the people of Alabasta.
Like, can I finish?
Nothing
EOS?
else for them. You're
Oh.
not living. You're living like a slave. And he redeclared what he had said to Tama. What? Listen.
All right, wait,
I
go
don't
ahead.
want to argue with you guys because I feel like what we're doing here is that you just want to not go show praise so we can have things to critique.
No, no,
I'm the
no, no.
opposite.
I'm not doing that.
Okay.
I'm the one that he's not losing a commander anymore. It's not even wrong, right? All
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying is that this is not a new aspect of Luffy's character. So for you to act like this is
New, it's kind of
like,
crazy.
so you new and story changing the who Luffy is and how he interacts with people, I fundamentally disagree with. Like, we've had this instance like in Dressrosa when he puts all of his trust in his crew after we see them in a time skip and they're actually in a somewhat serious situation. We've seen him act like this during Marineford when he puts
These people are not his crew.
Neither were the people.
Did you not just hear me say Marineford? I'm pretty sure you just heard me say Marineford. So he's done this several times throughout the story, and this is an aspect of his character, but it's so in your face now that you feel that it's brand new, and it's not. He's done this several times.
Several times.
He's done, like this is not new. Can I just? But other than that, this is like a small nitpicky part just to kind of be a dick, right?
Yeah.
I'm tired of motherfuckers telling me that Kid and Law are Luffy's equals. Like, I don't. Based on everything you've seen, I don't see Law and Kid.
Oh, JD, you got a lot going on, bro.
That has as much impact.
You said what?
You got a lot going on, bro.
Oh yeah, let me be because I'm driving.
Do you think that Law and Kid are on each other's level?
I don't care.
You don't care. All right.
Yeah.
I don't care. Here's where the disconnect is. I don't understand how you read that chapter and we immediately turn to power scaling. This is why I'm starting to get. I'm getting a little bit metal because we don't seem to understand.
Let me say this, right? This is not from a power scale. Like, my opinion is not from a power scaling position. That's where the argument lies, but that's not my position. My point overall is that people with very little evidence have said Law and Kid were equals to Luffy. And the only reason they said that is because of one fucking scene that foreshadows their importance in Sabaody. everything after that, including this moment, I don't understand how people can say that they are of equal standing when we've had ample time, at least with Law, to see those moments, and we still haven't gotten them.
Even if we're not talking from like a strength perspective, when we talk about like as a character, not even as a character, as
Just
the
their
place of
position
the
as
One Piece
pirates.
world, he's above them.
Yeah, exactly. Just their position as pirates and what they bring to the world. It's nowhere near the same.
I don't think people are looking at Kid Law as the 50th uncle. I don't think people are looking at Kid Law as this being that are like a threat that is like a new force. Like Luffy's a new force in the new world. Like and very powerful as it seems.
Like all I'm saying is, like, if you're going to say Kid, especially Kid, if you're gonna say Kid is his equal, like, I need more than him getting his fucking arm ripped off and him beating Brownbeard for me to say that they're his equals. And I need more than that scene in Sabaudi for me to say that they're equals. Because besides those three moments, there is nothing you can even articulate or argue that even points in the direction that they're equals.
All right. We can expound upon that, but I really would like to get into the meat and potatoes of what actually is going on in the chapter.
Okay, what's going on in the chapter?
So what do you want to talk about?
So I want to talk about several things. I want to talk about the amazing presence of Luffy's observation to the danger and what Old Man was getting ready to do right before he shot off the 200,000 time excitement bullet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we get to that, can we talk about Soap's trash ass
Oh no!
I can't believe you proved you right when he started saying that.
Bruh, it's funny how your mic is so trash that even though you're screaming, it sounds like you're whispering to me.
I know. Look, when I get home, I'm gonna be on your bumper.
What-
But listen, I'm picking up.
What happened? I was listening to you, man. It sounded like you were trying to talk my pants off, nigga.
Haki? What about that?
No,
We can
listen.
ignore that, or
Luffy.
But what about
Wait, what?
What did that nigga just say?
So what about Kid having Congress Haki? Danchin Gel has Congress Haki. Like what?
Yeah, like
Yeah, niggas have
that's
Congress
not a
Haki.
good point. Like, all I'm asking for is what feat on panel makes people say that Kid and Luffy are equals, besides that one foreshadowing moment, which has nothing to do with their strengths.
A lot of it stems from Sabaody.
Okay.
A lot of it stems from Sabaody and the mention of Rayleigh.
I can tell you what it is, and niggas don't like it when I say it like this, but at the end of the day, all it is that like the nigga looks cool and Luffy's the main character. So
niggas don't like that though. Niggas don't like when we say that, yo.
People want to put all of their eggs in this nigga look cool basket, and then when you press him on that basic obvious fact, then all of a sudden niggas is creditless and niggas is sucking Luffy dick. No. You're sucking Kid's dick because you have nothing to base that statement off of.
Well, most people wants to talk about this, yo.
I know. I tried 3 times bringing it up.
It really is every fucking. I'm about to go in the hood, so I might cut out. But look, it's every fucking chapter where it just keeps solidifying it, and people keep saying, "Oh, Kid is stronger. Kid is stronger." Where? How? When, nigga? This maybe I'm fucking crazy.
Man, long, and I heard like half of that. I don't know how y'all understand this.
I heard what happened.
It sounds like he's talking out his nose.
Toddy, yours has been much better.
Yeah, like
oh really?
Wait till I get home, and then I want you to keep that same energy.
Yeah, you half of your sentence cut out.
Yeah,
I'm in the boondocks.
Trash mic wars.
Yeah,
I'm a listen for like 5 more minutes.
When I'm home, ain't nobody. Problem. When I'm home, I'm too loud. Truth be told.
Mara, what up, man?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
Did you think the chapter was groundbreaking and it was so amazing?
I said for me it's a 10 out of 10.
Why are y'all seeing this from, yo?
Dude, it's my opinion. It's my opinion.
Yo, I think y'all got the decimal in the wrong place. Y'all are putting the decimal after the 0 when really it's a 1.0.
Listen, like
I just think you guys. I could be wrong. You guys You guys don't. You guys
Listen,
want
if you
to
could, if
so
you
much.
could
We've been
defend
critiquing it
why
so
you
much.
feel
You
that
I
guys
way,
think it
fuck
was
then
a
I'm
seven. I think it
subpar
was
mid
seven.
chapters, and when we actually get a good chapter, that y'all think this is subpar mid too, and
hold
without
on.
actually.
I think it's an E. I think it's a 7 out of 10.
I think last chapter and the chapter before that were way better than this chapter.
Me
Okay,
too.
okay, and that's perfectly fine.
Yo, y'all got
That's
me
your
feeling like I
opinion.
missed the chapter.
This is
Did something happen that I missed?
this
Yo,
is mine.
yo.
This is mine and Virgo's opinion that the
I mean,
chapter
well, no,
was
look,
amazing.
you're totally entitled to your
I know
opinion,
I am.
but your opinion
Y'all,
is shit.
tell me I didn't miss
Yeah,
the chapter when Big Mom and Kaido fought, and that's what y'all are talking about. Because I
And
know
we
damn
Okay.
sure it wasn't
and we
that prison
actually
This
get
is
to
the
battle.
first
leave
time.
Udon.
This
We
is the
get to
first
leave
time.
Udon.
This is the first time in One Piece that Luffy has given a motivational speech to a large group that
what are you
wasn't.
talking about?
Let me finish.
Motivational
Let me
speech.
finish. This is the first time Luffy's given a
Bro,
large speech to a group that was not
I'm
one,
sorry,
a royal family,
Madara.
that was not two,
Right.
people who weren't already about to fight. These people were broken.
Yeah.
Bruh,
Luffy's
nigga,
never
in
given a
every
speech.
episode of Yu-Gi-Oh, Yugi gave a motivational speech.
This
It
isn't
doesn't mean
Yu-Gi-Oh.
every episode
This
is a
isn't
masterpiece.
Yu-Gi-Oh. This is One
Can I
Piece.
say this? Because my
This is
mic is
One
like,
Piece. It's not Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay.
So you think a
All right.
motivational speech justifies a 10 out of 10?
No, if you let me finish. One, okay. Two, Oda's artwork was
let me
on
say this.
point. It was amazing.
Can you
Okay,
hear me?
that's two. What, Hans? Good going. What you gotta say?
Look, I mean, like, you're getting hype over the fact that Luffy gave a fucking TED talk. Like, what is
Right.
hype about?
Okay, all right,
no,
But
look,
that's not like, are we going to forget when Alabasta when he's saying
Well,
it's like,
Madara, allow me to say something. I just want y'all niggas to
And
know.
all of those other situations, that was Luffy talking to one or two people. It was
no,
not a
it's not. When
large
you talking
group
to the people
that
that was
Luffy had
Okay,
to
I get it.
motivate. It wasn't.
Madara.
It was not a
Oh,
large group
when
that
there's
Luffy
not
had to
a
motivate.
chapter that you can
All right,
shit on,
Madara.
Luffy is
every single thing you want to shit on in this chapter, and when it's not something you can shit on, you're unhappy.
Hold on, Madara. Can I say this, Madara?
I don't think it's bad.
Go on, Toddy. Wait.
I just want to say that all of you have the potential to be great men, and you gotta love yourself. Does that make me the dopest nigga in the community?
Yeah, no,
No, Toddy. Again,
A
Toddy.
motivational speech.
I'm about to
You
read
guys,
that 20 ass
I
are
don't think that's what
missing.
he's trying to say.
You guys are missing what we're
Yeah, I don't think that's
saying.
what he's trying to
Okay,
say. I
you
get
guys
what
are
he's trying
missing
to say.
entirely what we're saying. We are saying that this is the first time that Luffy has ever talked to an entire group
That's not
of
true.
grown men who were beyond really, who believed that they were beyond the point of redemption, who believed they were beyond the
I
point
just don't feel like that is
at
so
all.
significant enough to like make or break a chapter.
Okay, and that's you.
In
That's
his
you.
character. Like, that's
You're,
I don't think
that's
it's
how you
accurate.
feel.
There's so
That's
many
how I feel about it.
people
Can y'all hear
talking.
me?
There's so many people
One at a
talking.
time.
I started off the stream saying, like, yo.
Actually, you know what? Soap's mic is so trash that it sounds like niggas are talking over each other. It's just every time Soap talks, it sounds like 15 niggas are talking.
What's up, man?
Go on.
Okay, now you better now. You better now.
I feel you.
You good now? You
I
good?
appreciate you on that. Of course. Sorry, Doug.
Hey Hans, you and your 9 niggas can go ahead and talk now. You got
My bad. Listen, I'm in the middle of some. I was getting pot. Give me a second.
We're not gonna give you a second. You've lost your chance to talk.
Exactly. Anybody else?
Yo, can I say something? Can anyone?
Go on, JD.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll say one thing. This whole speech reminds me of Fishman Island in a way, where basically everybody was against the wall and they all were basically begging Luffy to save them, and then until they finally said it, Luffy saved them. But this is kind of the reverse. Now, I think you need to put into context the speech that Luffy said and the magnitude of what Luffy said. These guys have been suffering for almost 20 years.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said 20 years. It's totally different.
It's pure slavery. They've had every single ounce of hope torn away from them. So there's no precursor to this. They don't even know who Luffy is. This is Wano. They don't know anything about pirates. So they don't even know Luffy's a pirate to begin with. They just think he's Luffy Taro. So you have to understand that Luffy talked to complete strangers who have no idea who this guy is. And within the space of 10 minutes, he got them to forget about 20 years of suffering to rally up and fight against Kaido. And the best part about it is that Luffy took the ailment that they have been suffering with, tanked it, then gave the speech afterwards, then body bagged Old Maid. And you want to tell me, hold on, I'm not done yet. So you want to tell me like this is just like everything else that Luffy's ever done? No, Luffy has never gone to the magnitude that he has to inspire people that he has that have no idea who he is. He doesn't know who they are, and he's like,
everybody on Fishman Island knew exactly who Luffy was.
Yes, they knew he was a pirate. That's the point.
They did not. They called him Lucy. They even know his real name.
That's what I'm saying.
That's Dressrosa.
No, nobody ever know Luffy when he comes and touches the people's hearts. This nigga has been touching hearts since the third year of the manga.
That's Dressrosa. I said
and it's not just Dressrosa, man. It's like Luffy does this on every single island.
You want to know how they know? Because they thought Luffy kidnapped the princess. They thought Luffy kidnapped the princess to begin with. So yes, they didn't know who he was. So check your facts, my nigga. You don't know what you're talking about. Second of all, no, it's the truth.
Bro, you need to check the manga. Because you were acting like this is the first time Luffy has inspired a nation.
They were literally saying this is the first time. Again, go back to Momonosuke. Go back to Momonosuke. Luffy literally told Momonosuke, "I'm not helping you unless you tell me you want my help."
Exactly.
This is totally different from Luffy because Luffy has had to sleep to their level. He took on their pain and told them it's nothing compared to what you've already been going through. He said you've already been in slavery your whole life. You've been in slavery for the last 20 years.
Can I say
so it's totally different.
Can I say this?
No, Gomos, what are you saying?
Right. So like I started off this conversation by saying I understand the impact of this scene. It's going to be way better in the anime, but I understand how this moment is viewed as a quote-unquote hype moment. But I have always felt, based on Luffy's character, that this moment right here is not anything new. Why do I
do too. I feel the same way.
It's not.
Hold on, excuse me.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my bad. Go ahead.
Because I feel like that we have slowly but surely seen Luffy develop as a captain. One of the key components to being a captain, and especially one that's striving to be Pirate King, is to be able to sort of mobilize and inspire people around you. And that has gotten explicitly defined in the New World. From the starting moments when we first arrived, to that moment in Dressrosa, to those moments in Zou, and now what's happening here. So for me to say that this moment, as hype as it is not worthy of a 9 out of 10. I don't feel like it's crazy because it's nothing new.
My nigga's preaching.
Hold up.
Can I respond? Go ahead, Madara. Go ahead.
Was Vivi already trying to find a way to beat Crocodile?
I'm not talking about Vivi.
In the circumstances don't have to be 1-to-1.
You're saying
but they can be in the same realm.
You're saying is that it's already been done though, right?
No, I'm saying.
Okay, so I'm about to show you that it hasn't because Vivi was already.
It's like you didn't listen to Madara. It's like you,
right?
Madara, I think you missed this point completely.
You're saying that
was fighting, right?
Madara, you missed this point.
You did miss this point.
Don't talk to me. Listen. Like again, I know you heard the words that came out of my mouth, Madara.
I didn't miss this point.
Why you're trying to play these word games with me, whatever. Like I very clearly said that this has been an element of Luffy's character that has been consistently developed, especially in the New World. So for when this moment happens, it's not a surprise to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hyped by this because this is what his character's development has been leading towards. Is a moment like this. So
no, it hasn't. No, it hasn't.
Oh,
no,
come
it
on.
Hasn't. Because one, listen. Luffy was not going to help Momo until Momo asked for help.
Okay, but you can't take one scenario, Madara. You can't take one scenario and say that applies to everything.
It was also Vivi. He was not going to help Vivi until Vivi asked for help. That is facts. That is facts. Go and check it.
Hold on.
He was not going to help.
So you're saying the defining moment. You're saying the defining moment is someone got you.
I'm gonna ask one last time.
Go ahead, Vergo. Go ahead, bro.
All right. Now I understand that. Y'all getting passionate. That's fine. It's not even about me getting the floor. I'll even get the floor back to you after I'm done saying this. Let's be civilized gentlemen here. We're never gonna get to hear our points. We're never gonna hear each other out. If we start talking before someone finishes talking.
Yeah.
If you're talking before that person finishes talking, that currently means you're not truly listening.
Mm.
Yeah, I just want to respond to Madara, right?
Go ahead.
I want to make a point, but
Right.
yeah,
So
go.
those moments that you're talking
I'm
about.
not even finished.
Go ahead, finish, and then I'll
I'm not even finished.
Go
All
ahead,
right,
bro.
go ahead,
All
bro.
right.
finish, and then I'll respond. Go ahead.
Okay, so those are two characters, pre-time skip and post-time skip, that Luffy was not going to help until they asked for him to help them out. These guys in this chapter had to be motivated by Luffy because Luffy was going to help simply because of Otama. Luffy, totally different perspective, having to help people who didn't want his help. These guys were literally complaining, you should have never come here. If you had never come here, this would have never happened. They would have never been put through these excitement bullets. They would have never got this virus. But it's because of Luffy's revolting. And Luffy
They were
had to open up let me finish.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Luffy had to open up their eyes and say, dude, you've been going through hell for the last 20 years. Is the only
bro,
difference.
they weren't attacking him.
Toddy, can I finish? For the
Bro,
love
these
of God.
pauses, you have these pauses, and I be
Dude, I
trying to
haven't
jump
even
in the
paused
pause.
for even a second.
That's when I started
Not even
talking.
half a second.
I started talking in the pause.
Stop arguing. Stop arguing. Go ahead.
Man, it's time that big. Come on, man. Just finish.
Come on, quit being the dick.
Just go ahead. Just go
That was
ahead.
an accident. Calm down.
Yeah, ain't no accident. Toddy is you being Toddy. That's not an accident. Anyway,
wow.
Luffy had to take on their ailments in order to motivate them, in order to open up their eyes. He's never done that in any other arc inside of One Piece. Never.
Mm-hmm.
This is the totally different side of Monkey D. Luffy, going as far to go to their level to get them to rise up. That's not what Luffy has ever done pre-time skip or even before this arc. So to say that means that you have not been reading One Piece.
Okay. Now hold up. Let me respond real quick.
Hold on, Han said he was gonna
Han's been
respond.
responding.
Hans really wanted to.
Yeah, but you kind of responded to his point, though.
Yeah, like look.
This is responding to his point, so you should really respond. Go ahead, bro.
Those moments.
Toddy goes out there most.
Yeah, those moments that you're talking about, where he makes Vivi say, "I need your help," or where he says, "Momo, I need your help." Those that's very well within Luffy's character. Like even when he would arrive to an island and essentially help them without them asking for help. In his mind, he never wanted to be treated as a hero. In his mind, it was I was doing this because I wanted to fuck this guy up, and if it happens to help you, awesome. You know what I'm saying? But when you use those moments to say that this is a defining moment for Luffy, I personally disagree, because like he is going to fight Kaido regardless.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And I think this moment right here is essentially his frustration as a character, because we know that Luffy is one that very much values freedom and wants people to have as much choice as possible. That's like the basic tenet of his character. And I think him in the situation, knowing he's going to take Kaido and he's having these people attack him, even though their anger should be directed at Kaido and not him, isn't surprising. It falls right in line with his character, which to me doesn't make it a new revelation. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you?
I understand what you're saying, Hans, but this is literally a character defining moment for Luffy. He's never done this before. He's never done it. That's like saying. Okay, go on, Toddy. Go on.
Toddy, you got it. Let me get it after you.
I want to make a point after Toddy, though.
I got it after Toddy.
Okay.
Fuck yours.
Yeah.
So I first want to apologize. I want to apologize to Marta for trying to jump in and cut off him explaining the same point for the seventh time.
All right, we don't need that energy. That's not the energy we need, bro. Come on.
Man, it's jokes, man. Why y'all got your panties in a twist today?
I'm all good. Go ahead, Toddy.
Niggas is mad.
Go ahead, Toddy.
Tell
them niggas talk to you nice, Toddy. Tell them talk to you nice.
Talk to me however you want. I'm trying to talk to my niggas the same way I always do. I ain't trying to be PG-13.
Go ahead, Toddy.
Talk your shit. Talk your shit.
All right, so for you to the way you ran it, Madara, you implied as if Luffy is doing something out of pure benevolence, and you referenced a whole bunch of situations where Luffy motivated the people for a self-serving reason, or after being asked for help or whatever, completely ignoring the circumstances of what Luffy actually did. Luffy didn't come in that prison and start spreading rumors that he's going to save these niggas. It wasn't until they literally started attacking him and prevented the whole crew from making any progress that he took any action whatsoever. That nigga has not batted an eye at a single prisoner until they started attacking him. And I also think so what he's doing now is no different than any other time. It's still self-serving. That nigga wasn't about to give a pep talk to these niggas for no reason. And then I'm also with Hans completely. Regardless if a few aspects of the situations are changed, there's never going to be a one-to-one comparison. Of course, this isn't exactly like Alabasta. This isn't exactly like Dressrosa. This is not exactly like Fishman Island. They all share similarities. Where Luffy comes onto the scene, there's the general population is downtrodden, and Luffy inspires them and gives them courage and gives them hope when he's relatively unknown. That has happened time and time and time and time again, and that's why me and Soap don't find that much significance in this scene.
All right.
Okay.
So what I wanted to say is I 100% understand where you guys are coming from, all sides. Here's where I put it in perspective for myself.
Mm-hmm.
The culmination of Luffy's leadership over the years, I'm talking from all the way from the barrel till now, all the way from them, from inciting Kobe to rise up against Alvida.
Damn, my nigga said the barrel.
Yeah, from all of that, from inciting Kobe to rise up against Alvida, all the way from telling Usopp to be brave, all the way to him having his class with Usopp and telling him get the fuck off the ship. All of this, like all these things that he wrestled with.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
From Zoro having to have him fight with his own conviction. Tell him, hey, this is the captain that you need to be. From Zoro and Punk Hazard telling him, hey, we're in a new world. Stop playing these fucking games. We need you to be someone that we can follow and put our complete trust in. And I've seen that him do his time and time again where he'll fuck up and he'll do something right and courageous. And he'll fuck up again. But then finally seeing him say, hey, I'm all in for this one. I really don't know these people that well, but I'm all in. I will take on your burden, your disease. And it reminded me of when Whitebeard got stabbed by Squado and gave him a hug. And I thought about the great leadership that Whitebeard had, how all of his sons considered him the father and a great leader. That's the way I said, yeah, we've seen it time and time again from Luffy, but this is finally the culmination of, I think he's finally got it straight. He's finally got it right down.
But what is different about this scenario than what was different at Fishman Island or at Dressrosa?
What's different?
We literally told you what was different.
No, we're asking Vergo. Let's ask Vergo.
Well, what you told me what was different was that Luffy voluntarily did this without being needed to ask for help. But I countered that already by saying these niggas were literally jumping on him. He had not said a single word to any of these niggas until they started getting in his way.
Toddy, you realize Luffy could have knocked those guys out.
I got it. He
go ahead.
At any moment, he could have easily left or Gum knocked them the fuck out.
Exactly.
He didn't have to do anything. He said, listen, I'm going to reach your heart a different way instead of brute strength. I'm going to hug you, take on your burden. He said, this is nothing. Y'all think y'all free? Y'all are slaves. Y'all niggas are eating dongo a day. He gave an iconic speech that's going to be remembered for a very long time from now.
Hey, this a new Luffy. What you mean, son?
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
I think
hold on.
I understand why you guys feel that way.
Jinbei, that's a different Luffy. We're not about to.
I understand why you guys feel that way, but I think me and Soap are also justified in thinking that it's not that different. You guys have a reason to feel that not different, but we have a reason to feel like it's more the same.
Now,
that is very true.
At the very beginning of it, I literally said, you have the right to your opinion, and I have the right to mine. But when you tell me that I'm outright wrong for the way that I feel, that's bull.
You're outright wrong with the whole example of the help thing, because you're icing over the fact that Luffy still had self-serving intentions by giving this speech. That's where you're wrong. When you imply that Luffy is doing this out of benevolence and not out of a self-serving reason.
I never said he was doing it out of benevolence. There you go, putting words in my mouth.
I'm paraphrasing. Why are you so mad today, Mara?
I'm not mad. I'm saying I literally said the reason why Luffy that this is totally different from what Luffy has ever done, and you guys aren't even acknowledging that fact.
I'm sorry. Where you coming
This
from?
is way
Yo,
different than Fishman Island even.
I'm really
can I
confused.
can I help make your point? I think EOS was before me though. So EOS, you wanted to say something?
Go ahead, yo.
Yeah,
Here's what I'm saying, right? I'm saying like you with the whole Momonosuke point. You're right. He didn't hope. Say he wasn't gonna help Momonosuke until he said, "Momonosuke, I need your help." The same thing that he did for Nami, and the same thing that he does for everybody else when they ask him for help, right? Now, when he says he's gonna help somebody, he goes through with it 100%. He doesn't stop midway. He doesn't do. He goes 100% in. So like Alabasta, like you brought up earlier, when Vivi asked for help, he was gonna go all the way. That's why when he lost the first time, and then the villagers of Alabasta said helped him out. He said, "Yo, I'm not gonna lose another time. Y'all can trust me. I got you."
Yeah.
Right. So when Momonosuke when Momonosuke asks him for help, he's gonna go through with it without the arc. That when he asks him for help there, he's gonna help Wano because that's Momonosuke's people, regardless. That
Yeah.
So how is that self-serving?
Momonosuke never asked for help. He's gonna be in Wano doing it for whatever.
Okay, EOS. But him going all the way doesn't mean that he has to recruit these guys to fight with them. He doesn't have to recruit them. He's choosing to recruit these guys to fight to fight with them. That's something that Luffy would not have done earlier. Did he recruit any of the fishmen? No, I'm saying, did he recruit any of the fishmen in the plaza to help him beat Hody Jones?
When he called when they all took sake and they were brothers, and then
that's the end of the arc. EOS. We're talking about the current arc. Don't bring up the end of the end of Dressrosa.
I'm bringing up Dressrosa when what you're describing literally happened.
That's the end of Dressrosa. This is in the arc of Wano. Wano's not ending in the next chapter.
But
that's a bad comparison.
Concept. We're not talking.
No, it's not. That's not the same comparison.
Yo, we're talking about the concept. We're not talking about when it happened. When it happened doesn't matter. It's the concept of what.
It does matter because I'm talking about the context of when things happen. It does matter.
I think Madara got hit with the same poison all them prisoners did. That nigga's hot.
I'm not hot. I'm saying if you are comparing the same context, then compare the same context.
What I'm saying is,
don't use the end of an arc for the beginning of another arc. That makes no sense.
Yeah, talk your shit, Madara.
That makes no sense.
Hold on, EOS. Let Vergo talk.
JD, you got it. But I want to say real quick, if you're going to say that someone's entitled to feel whatever they feel, when they start making their points about what they feel, you have got to be sick in the head to tell them they're wrong.
Man, I just want to let Madara know that nigga, you have people that love you. And stand by.
This nigga trolling. This nigga wild, bro.
It's Toddy being Toddy. I'm cool.
Hey, man. Shout out to Mama D, man.
Go on, JD. Go on, JD.
But I just want to respond to the point where you're saying this is nothing really new. But I think what we need, like I mentioned in my last point, is context is very important. So I want to make an analogy here. Right, so let's consider Luffy's motivational speeches. He does that. He does do that. I'll give you that. There's definitely multiple instances of him doing this, right? But I think what's really hitting home is the context and the culmination, like Vergo was saying. All these motivational speeches we've seen, Luffy's up the level of the magnitude of these speeches, right? And the magnitude of this speech significantly outweighs the magnitude of all his other speeches, and I'll tell you why. So I want to use the analogy of I'm a huge LeBron James fan, right? Stay with me here. Just stay with me, right? LeBron James has 3 championships. He won 2 in Miami, and he won 1 in Cleveland. All 3 of them are championships. But which one means more? The Cleveland championship, because there's more meaning behind it, right? In this context here, when Luffy gave that speech, there's so much more meaning for Luffy specifically, and then for the slaves.
So the slave what? You cut out. Okay.
Yeah. No, that was my alarm. My bad. What was the last thing you heard me say?
More meaning to the slaves.
There was more meaning to specifically Luffy. I think what we need to understand is like it's not just about the slaves. It's about what it means for Luffy and him as a character, him as a man, him as a leader. We've characterized Luffy as the leader where I'm just going to do it and you got to follow me, right? He doesn't really have a way with words. Luffy's never had a way with words. He's just so direct and so sure of himself that people kind of just are motivated by his demeanor and how he acts and all his actions. In this case, Luffy hit home with his words, and that is something that we don't normally see Luffy do.
Get your
See, that's a good argument. You should have jumped in earlier.
No, I was here, but like I needed the analogy so we're all in the mindset, right? Because then you have that speech, and it's like I'm reading the speech, and I'm like, yo, these guys really were slaves for 20 years. These guys are really eating Kibi Dango. They're not doing
dog shit.
You know what I mean? Like these slaves are they've just been broken down to every single fiber of their being. They have nothing, and all of a sudden, Luffy brings this speech out, and to drag people that you've never met before out of the gutter like that, and then put yourself in their shoes as well, when they clearly know you don't know him. So you mean to tell me this guy got a sickness that could spread to everybody else for me, and he doesn't even know me, and then he got sick, then he bodied old maid after that with the future sight? When I saw that, I'm like, Nelson Mandela. I see Nelson Mandela and Luffy. That's where I came to. I'm like, okay,
man, you're right. When I was reading that speech, I was like, "Where's Mama? This nigga talks too much. Hurry up. This speech doesn't take two pages."
Nah, but what I got from what you said was not that it's something new, but it's something that Oda's building upon.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it is. It's
and that's cool that he's building upon it. But what I'm trying to say is, all because he's building on somebody's character, even though it was what you said, it was a great feat, you know what I'm saying, in his character. I don't think that makes the chapter a 9 out of 10.
Well, it has to be, because think about it again. Like everything that I mentioned, like it's the magnitude of the speech. One Piece is all about One Piece doesn't really have that many good fights, but what is it that brings us towards One Piece? It's the emotions that will make you feel it, how it gets you invested in the characters and the plot.
It's the I want to live. It's the Raizo is safe.
Exactly. Raizo is safe is one of the greatest lines I've ever heard. And it was 3 words, bro. And then Luffy saying this, dog, this is the same type of feeling you got when you heard Raizo
I want to be free.
Yes. Yep. Think about it. This is One Piece, bro. This is One Piece in its entirety. It can't be lower than 9 out of 10, bro, because this is just One Piece.
Man, not from a speech, man. Not from a speech. I'll give you that the speech. I'll give you the speech had the significance that you're talking about. But let's not pretend like we all didn't see this coming. As soon as those prisoners went against him, we all knew Luffy was about to talk.
It could be lower than a 9. It could be lower.
I thought this was gonna. It's not a surprise to me. I thought it was going to happen.
Not a surprise.
You don't think it wasn't going to happen? Like, how did you think this was going to go?
No, I don't think that was going to happen. I honestly
thought I thought something along that line was going to happen.
EOS. All I thought they were going to get inspired by the Scabbers showcasing their skills, and it was a wrap.
Nah.
Yeah.
No, I think something was going to happen.
I didn't think that Luffy was going to take their pain, talk that good shit, and then body that nigga old mate and be like, yeah.
That's what I expected.
I saw.
You guys really didn't expect him to inspire these guys?
Not like this.
I didn't
like this.
Like it was
this wasn't the way that I envisioned that. You don't get that?
Oh, sorry. What are you saying, Vergo?
When we arrived in Wano, and everybody's talking about swaying our samurai to our side. Who do people talk about? People talked about Zoro. People talked about Kinemon. People talked about the other Scabbers. Not once was Luffy's name mentioned.
But Luffy inspires people in every arc, man.
That is true. But here's my point, though. Right? The reason why I didn't think what Vergo was gonna say would happen.
What Vergo just said was
the Scabbers going to inspire them.
People were saying that.
Shintomaru said when Shintomaru said you abandoned us for 20 years. I thought that everybody was going to take that same stance as Shintomaru.
Really, that's how the arc was going to end? Was the people wouldn't get on the side of the rebels?
No. I'm saying. I thought Luffy was going to have to play a part in it. I didn't think it was just going to be solely the Scabbers.
Luffy always plays a part in it. Look, y'all got me torn because on one hand I've been kind of like moved to the other side, but on the other hand y'all are blowing this shit out of proportion. Like this is brand new shit.
Like. He's always going to play a part in it, and that was him building up.
I'm saying, but this is a setting. This is a setting where he's a complete outsider. It's not like, oh, pirates come to this village. Oh, government officials come to this village. This is a closed-off territory where I believe the only samurai and those who know the way of Bushido are the only ones that are ever going to talk to or respect.
He really does inspire people.
But it's still the same concept of oppressed people being inspired by Luffy.
What you saying?
No, it's a different sort of oppressed people. Do you understand what I mean?
I was saying he really does inspire people in every arc. I was going to say like in Zoe he didn't, but then I thought about the Momo moment.
He did.
He literally forced him to take the first step towards being a man.
Hell, even in Whole Cake, he inspired God Jr.
I know, but this goes back to Jay's analogy of it's championships, but this one feels different.
This is something that's been building up to, but
Hey
once it's
man,
built
when
up
he
to,
talked that thing to Jinbei, told him, "Hey, you better come back."
Nigga, is it really building up, nigga? If I run 10 miles a day and then on Saturday I run 11, does that mean I've been building up to the 11-mile run?
you kind of just described like,
Kind of did.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
Kind of did.
Are you
Kind
retarded,
of.
bro? Are you retarded?
Man, okay, maybe I've been building up, nigga, but it's one more mile.
What? Yo, this nigga
Wow.
really said that with confidence.
Really
That's crazy.
Luffy
Wow.
went one more mile. Congratulations.
Wow.
One more mile doesn't make a chapter a 10 out of 10.
Oh
Yeah,
my,
bro.
Hey, that is what we, hey,
Bro.
ladies
my
and gentlemen,
God.
that
What
is
is
what
the
we around here like
analogy?
to call a self body.
Yo, with
Yeah,
Hey,
nah,
Toddy,
for
yo, it's the
real.
your
confidence.
analogies be hitting, but that
It's
one
the
was crazy.
confidence, my nigga. That's what gets me, bro. Like he was, yeah, I hit this shit. I got it
Yeah, for
right.
real. Like,
I,
damn.
I don't know what y'all
Nah,
are
my
talking
nigga,
about.
that's an L,
No,
bro. That's
I'm
an
just
L.
Nah, you know what we're
That's
talking
an L,
about.
dog.
No, I
That's
don't,
an
because
L,
y'all were
dog.
talking over each other. When
It's
did
a
I take
self
the L?
body. It's a
I'm
self
done.
When did
body.
I take the L?
you're saying
It's self body.
it's not really though. You know, it's not that much.
I'm
Bro,
screaming.
if you run 10 miles every day, and then on Saturday you run an 11,
You're
I
yes,
reaching
said
you
that
are.
10. I
threshold.
said 10.
Yes, I
10
know. If you
miles a
run
day.
10 miles a day, and then on Saturday you run one more, yes, you're prepared for 11
That's
miles,
what I'm
bro.
saying. Sure, it's building up to something, but nigga, it's
Yes.
not
It's
much
not a
different than
lot.
what I've
But
been doing all week. And what Luffy's done is not much different than what he's been doing the whole series. That's the
bro,
whole
Hey,
you are
point.
Toddy, I have a
bodying
But your
question.
yourself,
whole thing,
Hey,
bro.
your
You
whole
sound
thing was
fucked up,
it's not building up, but it is.
bro.
Yeah,
You making
I
you
get
making
what
a
you're trying to
point.
say. I get what you're
You
trying to
don't make.
say.
Bruh,
I don't know what
okay,
you're
you
doing,
guys are
bro.
getting too caught up on the specifics.
Building
I
up,
know it's building up, but the point was is
not up
that
by much.
like the build up is such a slight payoff that it's not that exciting.
Slight,
You
whoa,
guys got
whoa,
shit twisted.
whoa,
You're
So
getting too
what?
lost on the
Do you
whoa,
words
want
and
an
not
slight,
on
S
the point.
pull? Do you want an
slight
S
I don't know
pull,
what
payoff,
Toddy means.
bro?
slight payoff. We ain't
Guys,
even got to the
let's
payoff yet.
listen.
I can't
Hold
I
on,
talk
can't hear
with
you
you.
guys.
guys, we can dead this, and here's why we can dead this. Because there's nothing wrong with, I understand what Toddy means. Basically, he's saying it wasn't as impactful as it was for the rest of us. That's just the cut and dry.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Right,
That's
nigga.
fair.
I personally don't think a mile is that big. I'm sorry.
And I understand it. It's
I,
all good, bro.
Yeah, just keep it pushing.
You didn't get from it what we got from it, and we need to keep it at that, and we're not gonna keep on clowning each other all the
And
time.
just for a little foreshadowing, I don't mean to spoil this for you guys, but when the war breaks out, guess what? Luffy's gonna inspire more people. I'm sorry to spoil it.
We
I'm
already
sorry.
know that. You already know that though.
Oh my god, don't
What?
spoil me, bro.
I know, my bad.
You got
My
going
bad.
on? Hey,
Otis sent
mama.
me. Otis sent me the
Hey,
transcript. My bad.
Hey, right quick. Mama G
I
gonna
don't
lose
know
again.
what that nigga mean.
Oh no.
Oh
hey man.
no.
Oh my god, no.
But
All right.
but the whole speech thing or whatever, I'm surprised you guys were. I haven't talked to you guys. Know I ain't talked to nobody about this chapter. I'm surprised that one. That's what got you guys more so than what I thought was the best part of the chapter, and it was
What's the
that use of
future
the
sight?
future sight.
Yeah,
I mean,
Nah,
I knew he was
that's
about
what
to
I
bring
the
wanted
that
to
shit
future
up.
sight was
strengthen.
definitely the best part.
We gotta get to that one. We gotta get
I'm
to
actually
that.
Because
salty
that
about
was
that, man.
that
You
panel and the
said
shading in it was
what you say,
gorgeous.
nigga? What?
Wait, what, Steve-O?
I said I'm actually salty about that.
Oh, I
Why?
thought he said I'm soft. Oh, I said never
No,
mind.
I said I'm salty because
Why?
I was really adamant that he didn't have future sight.
Oh yeah.
Dang.
That
Oh
got
yeah,
you. Yeah,
you
you got body
stupid.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got body
Yeah.
there.
Body
Oh,
bag.
Stupid.
Steve-O,
Body
that's
definitely.
right. You one of
Stupid.
the niggas on the list that I need to slag because that was stupid.
Stupid.
I mean, I was one of them too. Like
Oh,
I,
hold on,
I didn't think
Steve-O.
he had it.
All right, so
Steve-O.
write your name
He
down
Steve-O,
so
showed
we
us
can
That's
see.
tough.
he showed us
you
future
saw how
sight
he
when he
looked
went.
on that panel, Steve-O? He was looking at you. He was like,
But
yeah,
he
nigga.
showed us future
Steve-O,
sight when he was
Shit,
talking
Steve-O, Steve-O,
to old man
All you had
Hio.
to do was watch last week's anime episode and you would have known.
But
I haven't
that's
watched the anime
but
in a
that's
while.
just
Why would
The
anyone
nigga,
do
that's
that
not
voluntarily?
that's not
the
really
nigga
future
had the
sight
red
though.
Katakuri eyes.
Uh, but it wasn't like the magnitude of it, you
Yeah,
know.
it
So I
was.
just thought,
Yes, it was. It even
no,
made a
you
little
reaching.
pinging noise.
Man, it
It
was the
didn't.
magnitude. That nigga slid over
Nah,
there, and
cause
then
you didn't see the.
he's just like casually. I saw a future I didn't want to
Nah,
happen.
you didn't see the
Oh,
little lines though.
shit.
You didn't see the
Come
little
on,
lines.
Who
You
JD.
didn't see the
cares if you saw
lines.
the line?
That line's important, bro. What you
The
mean?
line the first
It's
time was a
important,
mistake,
dog.
nigga. Otis spilled his
I'm not
coffee on the
having it.
page. It
I'm
wasn't
not
supposed to be there
accepting
in the
it.
first place.
I don't want to accept it. It doesn't make
Bro,
sense.
JD, bro, you're being creditless. 1, 2.
All right. Word. We just throwing that word out. Okay.
Yes,
All
I
right.
am.
Okay.
You do
Okay.
down these parts.
And
Yeah.
number 2, the thing is, Y'all niggas knew he had future type back when the old nigga when Hyogoro asked him and he smiled at him.
Oh,
I didn't know nothing. KNOW. You know what that word means?
No.
I didn't know nothing because it wasn't confirmed.
Exactly.
Now
it's
been
confirmed. Now it's confirmed.
Man, y'all got everybody's so stuck on this confirmed shit. Sometimes you got to take the context clues, man. We knew.
No,
Luffy had
sometimes you gotta take your L.
Hey, all I'm saying is
you
niggas
gotta
still saying that Katakuri didn't lose, so
I'm
Bro,
cool
really.
with
when
taking
Mono
context
came
and
about,
all,
bro, and I seen all these
but
signs,
context doesn't add up to
I
concrete
publicly admitted
evidence.
that I was wrong.
It does.
And that's how it
I
is.
think it just doesn't make sense. Like observation hockey, like you can't just. It doesn't make sense. It's like it takes you years to learn stuff like future sight. Luffy learned in what, 2 weeks?
No, but you saw no. He's had this
What?
ability for a while. Like you've seen God Jr. say that he's approaching his own level during that fight.
Bro,
So
you gotta,
this is not something he just got.
Now I know you love this story, right?
Of course.
Luffy been doing the impossible since the
That's
battle.
true. Gear second is an example. I get it. Gear
Exactly.
second
He
is a clear
stretches
example.
his arms really
Just
long.
like in a day,
Yeah,
and
yeah. But it's just like, oh man, it
I know
just
what he's trying to say.
stuff like this doesn't sit right with me, you know. Like that's
Why?
the part of One Piece where
How
it's
not?
Why?
it's future
This has
sight,
been
bro.
in
It's
place
like
since Whole Cake.
Bro, all that
magnitude.
means, JD, all that means is that Katakuri was training his observation hockey against cupcakes, and Luffy had to train his against a first commander. That's all it means.
I can give you that. That I can give.
That's literally all it means.
Hockey blooms
Luffy,
in extreme situations.
That's fair. That's fair.
Listen to this. Luffy, who's been training for 19 plus years, of course he's gaining all this fast, right? You know what? It doesn't make even more sense. Kobe's rapid growth. That nigga been sweeping floors since Nam, and now all of a sudden he cold as a bitch.
I mean, we did get a 2-year time skip
hockey out this world.
Yeah, but it's 2 years though, and he had a hockey, and he had observation hockey like during the war, so it was only a couple of months because you have to remember
it's rapid. It's rapid.
Yeah, man. Kobe's shit is way more, I think, impressive as a growth rate than Luffy. Oh, growth's grown way faster.
Kobe and Helmeppo have boasted the highest growth rate this year.
Hey man,
You can make that argument.
I guess.
I've been here for like 5 minutes.
That's a whole lot of cap though.
Sorry, you didn't say nothing, nigga.
Whole lot of
I
cap.
don't like interrupting. You know how I am.
That's a lie. He an 8.
That part's true. I don't interrupt though. A thoughtful ape.
Mid 8.
Before we move on, I do want to get Hemming's takes on what he thought the chapter was like.
You think it was a 9 out of 10, Hemming?
Oh, I liked it. It was good.
Hemmings, tell me it wasn't a 10 out of 10.
Seen that bitch ass nigga
It wasn't
kid
a
on
10 out
the
of 10
floor.
to me. He's like a 9,
Thank
8,
you.
somewhere right on there.
Yeah.
It was really good. Ain't nothing crazy really happened. It was just kind of like hype in terms of like.
Whoa, what you talking about?
Finally, we get some logic in this bitch.
My boy
because
Luffy was out here finessing and weaving.
I actually watched a lot of people really deep dive into Luffy's psyche and growth and all this stuff. I'm like, it's really not that deep.
Thank you, nigga. Where were you 20 minutes ago? When I was alone.
If
Hey,
you
Toddy,
feed
man,
Luffy,
get off his nuts, Toddy.
if you feed Luffy, he will ride for you. Like he's that simple. Like I
Golly.
understand why a lot of people are doing it, but it just like sometimes like the pool is shallow. There's nowhere to go. Like why are you digging? Like it wasn't that.
That's crazy how
That makes me so happy.
Because of Tama.
But it was still exciting to me. Like I was still hyped to see him make the speech and inspire them. The way he did it was very Luffy like. He didn't think, he just acted. You just like, bro, like dude, like they got AIDS. Like you can't be doing that. You can't be doing that. Like
Nah, he did. He
Hemmings,
did think about it.
bro, you should have been here
really
earlier.
thought about
Hemmings,
it.
these
He
niggas
didn't
were
care.
talking about Luffy like he was Martin Luther King. I couldn't believe my ears.
Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, I was hearing people say that, like I think Braga was saying once that he thinks that Luffy likes to find a reason to help people. I just don't buy any of that. It's just my man keeps it simple. Right? He likes Otama. Otama fed him. You can argue the Ace connection thing that is there, but like Luffy gets involved into these big things for the littlest of reasons. Like someone stole my hat, saves the country in the process. Like that's just how he is.
That is
Tama fed me, so I'm going to save her because he said no one should be heard. Which I just read.
I didn't hear you. Sorry, say it again.
I said I was just reading back at the chapter while we were talking, and like the reason why he said he did it because of Tama.
Yeah. It's like he rides out for his own. 41. Yeah, that's what it is. But to me, for some reason, the part of the chapter that interested me the most was just looking at Kid. just stare out. Like
Do you guys think that was a look of jealousy or
just
what?
wanted to know what he was thinking.
I don't know.
I want to know what he's thinking about.
Why? How is he so strong? Like, why is he so? Why do people like him like this? Like, why can't I be like him?
Why can I be
He realizes he's not Luffy.
I'll never get the One Piece. He got a right hand that's not fucked up in the head. I do.
Yo, Vegeta.
Who caught Kid again? Who caught him the second time?
I think it's a monkey.
He gave himself up. He gave himself up to go.
He ran towards them because he saw that Killer was there.
Because he saw Killer.
That's
why.
I thought we were talking about this right on. Yeah.
But yeah, now to me, I just wanted to know what he was thinking. Like for some reason, that panel fascinated me.
He realized
he was in deep thought.
It doesn't think, bro.
I don't think he was inspired. I think it's jealousy shit that's foreshadowing him betraying Luffy now.
I don't think he's gonna betray.
Well,
They ain't never became friends.
I just got back. What happened?
Oh, we resolved what the previous thing.
Oh, Madara's done being sensitive, huh?
No. You missed it. So he warmed up some more milk and he cooled off.
You left the call.
Y'all niggas are bugging.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even. You sitting there spazzing. You sitting there spazzing off.
That's what sensitive niggas do.
What are you talking about? I was switching from my phone to my computer.
Sure you were,
jackass.
Sure you were.
I mean, I literally was.
Okay, sure.
Well, it does sound better, to be fair.
Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? You're the one who left.
And I came back.
It took you 30 minutes to come back? To simply switch from your phone to your computer?
I had shit
that sounds
to do.
suspect.
Yeah.
Virgo, how legit does that actually sound?
Hey, Hans, man,
Like
don't make me tell me text you send me.
Mater, you gotta have some. Mater, you gotta have some empathy, man. You gotta have some empathy, Madara. When you have a friend that is super mean to you and calls you names, sometimes you gotta take
that's what I'm saying. He's the one who left the call, not me.
But you were just crying for Toddy being Toddy. Like, you were
I knew Toddy was being Toddy. I'm saying when we went to the format of letting people speak, Toddy kept talking over me.
Let me speak.
And I did not keep. Nigga, it was one time.
It was multiple times. It was multiple times.
Man, it's not that big of a deal.
It was multiple times.
For the 60 of you watching, yes, we do eventually talk about One Piece here.
Let me speak.
But right now, we're trying to talk about salvaging friendship.
Shout out to the 60 people, man. Shout out to them. What's up?
But the reason that I didn't think the chapter was, even though there was some amazing moments, I really liked the kid moment, and I love that future sight moment. The speech moment, I didn't really care for because that's Luffy being Luffy.
What kid moment? I thought I was
talking about.
The problem. The reason why I can't get it up.
Wait, no, hold on, Todd.
Hold on.
Exactly.
What kid moment? What kid
moment? When he was giving Luffy the death stare.
2 sentences and said, what moment?
Hold on, Madara, excuse me, I'm talking and you're hurting my feelings by talking over me.
I had my microphone muted. What are you talking about?
Nigga,
that spoke when he spoke, you fucking dick.
I heard what I heard.
That was a long time ago. You had to listen.
Hold on, honestly, Madara, you're being really fucking rude. You're being really fucking rude.
Guys, I would love to finish my point.
You're being real rude right now, bro.
Because it seems like
I would love to finish my point.
I'm like completely on your mind, Hans. All right, so take my dick out of your mouth.
I'm literally pointing out what you did.
Thank you.
You sound upset right now.
Excuse me, niggas. I'm on the stage and y'all in the crowd. Why the fuck y'all talking over me?
Right now.
Hold on. Let me finish my point.
Sound upset.
Let me finish my point.
This is all Virgo's fault.
Go ahead.
Virgo, I'm getting so offended.
No, I understand.
I'm offended for you, Toddy. Honestly, Madara got no chill.
I'm hovering over several mute buttons.
Hopefully 3 of them are mine.
She told me to tell Michaela.
He's the only problem I see.
Yo, Toddy,
Shut up.
Come on, man. Come on. Let Toddy make his point. Man.
Come on now. We all grown around here. Chill up.
All right. Hold on. Let me get my feelings together because they're a little hurt. Okay. So,
come on now, dog.
So,
come on,
knows
man.
I gotta love for that nigga. Shut up. Anyway, the reason I can't give it above a 7.5 is because the actual content of the chapter, the whole the poison
Nothing
and
crazy. Nothing happened.
Luffy having to save the prison or whatever. I feel like they're dragging out this whole prison sequence way too long. It should not have taken like 2 months to get through all this shit. And I felt like this whole scene could have taken place in the previous chapter within a couple of pages.
For sure.
And instead we dragged out with some boring action scenes where these niggas are fighting nothing but fodder, and we get a badass moment at the end, and that's it.
Can we talk
because the actual substance of the chapter was so empty, I can't give it above a 7.5.
I can't even lie. I ignored
That's fair.
pages.
That's fair.
Can we talk
man,
about
the first
like
5 pages, like I don't ever get hype when in One Piece where the action is like the Straw Hats or anybody fighting a bunch of fodder. Like that never gets me excited.
Can we just talk about like that whole Luffy poison shit? Now I'm noticing what Oda like this whole when Luffy's resisting the poison and when he's not, it's just on Oda's whim.
That was AIDS.
Shut up. It's just too.
Well, do you see those infectious like plagues as a literal poison, or more like a virus, or like a sickness?
Didn't he describe it as a poison?
I think they just said it was like a plague that spreads, like like a disease. Like that's how I saw it. To me, like
okay.
I don't think you're wrong if you think it's poison. I just
because it came off to me like it was because they talk about like the bullets and how he crafted the special type of poison for it.
No, he said plague virus.
Yeah, because to me it came across more like a sickness virus.
But I felt like this is just like on Oda's whim.
I think he got AIDS right now. To different like poisons and bacteria. He's got
Hold on, Mose. Why do you think Chopper reacted the way he did? Because nigga, he know Luffy good with the poison, but he saw AIDS. He's like, no, nigga, no, don't touch them.
he's like, you're not okay. Stop capping.
Chopper was like,
man, he didn't even have to touch them.
Chopper's like, he's not good.
He really did. No, he had to touch them. He had to touch them.
Why did he have to touch them?
Because he could have pretended to be sick. Hold on, Vergo. Let me answer this nigga. Because he had to get it. He had to get that slave mentality out these niggas. Like, hey man, fuck that. You don't got to listen to these niggas.
So he has to get AIDS.
Yes.
He had to stun them. Like he had to. Because wrap them in his embrace.
You also got to understand. You also got to understand. They just told him. They just told him you're an outsider. You don't know what this feels like. He's like, man, this pain ain't shit. Come on, man.
He stunned the shit out of them, senpai. Like that's what it was.
Bro, it shouldn't even took that. That nigga is whooping on these niggas' masters.
What do you mean it shouldn't have took that?
That's enough.
It's been 20 years. My nigga's been 20 years. They ain't seen nothing.
But they ain't never seen no one whoop on the masters like that.
It's just leading through your actions. It's far more inspiring to see it in that fashion.
It's a different Luffy now.
Bro, he just did this for all of us. Like it's I get what you're saying, but it's just leading by example.
I'm just saying he could have pretended to be sick. That nigga could have coughed and sneezed a couple of times.
Nah, that's fake. That's fake.
I will say this though, like as like a Luffy development chapter, this is a good one. I'll take it. You know what I mean?
All right. What'd you rate it?
I gave it like a 6.
I'll give it a 7. I think
it's like a C, like a 7.
Yeah, it's okay. Like I'm not. There was nothing to.
It was a 7.5 until that speech lasted 2 pages.
The way he bodied Old Maid was so raw though. Like that panel.
Man, wasn't it though?
I really liked
he just put him in a knot and walked away. Like
I love how he did. I love how Oda did the art for that too, because
the rules. You don't look at
because he did it so fast that like Luffy just appeared and his trunk was already knotted. So
Oda has been like Oda's making Luffy faster and faster each arc. Like
that and the way he looked at him.
The speed that he's displaying in this arc is just fucking
Vergo,
incredible.
You know,
he was like, "This ain't the future that we want."
Right, this ain't.
Oh,
yeah, JD did. I don't know what he's trying to say though.
Can y'all hear me? Because I think I'm lagging a little bit.
Yeah, no, you just keep muting yourself.
Unfortunately.
Oh yeah, because I'm driving, bro. I can't.
Okay.
I'm trying to be courteous.
Yeah, I feel you. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I was just telling Vergo. You remember that Catcher Freeman episode in Boondocks?
Oh
yeah. Luffy is Catcher Freeman.
That's
what's going on right now. You remember that?
Wait. Which one?
Are you talking about the slave one where he was getting all the slaves?
Which one was it?
Yeah, that one where he's flying around and shit. Like you talking about how fast he was? Yeah,
Wait,
he's
you
flying
trying
around
to
the
make
city.
everybody slave? What are you
That
talking
nigga came
about?
out the water like Jason.
Yeah, like a black Batman or something. You know what I'm saying? And they were singing that
Oh,
slave
weird.
song.
Hey, can I
Won't you
Weird.
take
can I ask
all
y'all a
black
question though?
asses out of here?
Ask your question.
I mean, like y'all pretty much after this chapter, like, is there? Do you think Act 2's pretty much done? Like, there's not much more
Man, it
to.
better be,
Nah,
man.
nah.
I mean,
There's still
Listen,
7
I was gonna
days
go back to the
left.
there.
listen.
I thought they
We
would
gotta.
have.
Right, but like
If
that,
we
I think he's
finish,
gonna handle those next 7 days. Like most of that's gonna be gone through between Act 2 and
we
Act
gotta
3.
go back
Like
to
I
the
think we'll
law
have some
shit.
days
We
past.
gotta go
We
law
gotta
and
go back to
Hawkins, see
law.
what that looking like.
Man, I hope
And
next
then we can
chapter
finish.
it says Act
Yeah,
3, two
Me
two
too.
minutes till the war starts.
I didn't
Wait,
know.
nah,
what? No.
it's not gonna be that crazy.
What?
It's not gonna
Like,
be that
come
crazy.
on,
You know
man.
that's not gonna
I
happen.
think
Yeah,
Shit needs to
I
pop
think we
off.
have to see Big Mom and Kaido before this
we
It ain't
chapter
gonna
do.
be
ends.
Act
We
Fact.
3.
do.
That
That's gonna
too.
be a great
Before
chapter.
this
That can
But
chapter
happen
ends.
I
2
feel
minutes
like
before the war.
that could be something that starts
That's Act
off Act
3.
3. To be
Yeah,
honest.
it could be the start of
We
Act
might
3,
have
but
a
Yeah.
we might have a rocks flashback too. It don't
Kaido
matter.
son, let me go. You remember when I was popping that pussy?
Whoa.
Wow.
remember when I used to do that
Whoa!
thing?
Popping that
Yo,
throat.
We didn't have to go there,
Yo,
bro. That's
Kaido's gonna
crazy.
turn in the dragon and swim into that bitch.
Hell yeah, boy.
Oh
Hey, she
no!
gonna take his Elbas spear.
Niggas call me trash. Like
Y'all
that
niggas
shit
are
is crazy.
different, bro. Y'all niggas are real different. That's crazy.
Nigga, don't blame me. I want a certain type of hentai. You can't blame me.
Hey,
Yo,
what?
wow.
Whoa.
We didn't go
Hey,
there, bro. That's
you
crazy.
know who that is, Most. That's Toddy. Remember what he
Yeah,
said.
oh wow.
I'm not even gonna comment on that. That
I
shit
Hey,
is
want it
hey,
to
crazy.
look like how I be fucking these bitches, okay?
hey, Hans. I just like to say that I liked your contribution to that Corey diss.
Tebow, you could have said that off stream.
Hey man,
What you mean?
look, I
Tebow, you
mean,
could have said that off stream.
Slim,
look,
man. Don't start it, Slim.
listen to me.
Oh,
I'm gonna
Tebow is
we
hot
go.
trash,
Hold
bro.
on. We gonna talk about
Hot
this for like
garbage.
we gonna talk about this for 2 minutes. Like, I don't give a fuck enough about this beef between them two, like for me to like, like I don't got no stakes in it. I think both sides is just being fucking ridiculous, if you ask me, right? But I mean, if Corey or Matt asked me to do a song and it end up being a Dustin diss, I would still do it. Like the whole point was just making a good song, and I felt like it was a good song.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like you did your part.
You hold trash.
Yeah.
How? What?
But I mean, like, just my name throwing it. Like, I'm watching Brago stream, and I get a shout out, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm watching Dustin stream, and then all of a sudden, me and Brago had beef. I had no idea.
Oh no, Han, that beef thing when you said something about like a year and a half ago that he got mad at you about. And you do remember because I told you about it, and you were just like, I don't give a fuck what Brago thinks.
I mean, well, one, I don't. Two, I don't even like. If I didn't even know what did I say that was quote unquote.
It was like one of the
I'm about to
streams.
go to work. I'll see y'all boys later.
And you said
All right, take it easy, Steve.
You said Brago had like a shitty opinion, and he was like, "Fuck you." So,
I mean, if your opinion is shit, take that up with God. That's above me. Like I don't.
That's above me.
I thought you were God, Mochi Hans.
That was so fucking
Yeah,
annoying,
you're
yo.
right.
It's above me now.
That's a bar.
It's above me.
No, it's just above me. Like I mean, like
I have to use that. I'll give you credit, but I'm not use that.
Like
Nah, that was great.
I don't
That was great
understand how.
execution. That was excellent.
Like why?
Execution, my guy.
Where is quote unquote beef? Because I think you have a shit opinion on an anime. Like,
there is no beef though. That was like a year and a half ago. Like,
That is clean.
Nah, like they made it seem like, oh, bro,
Because
gonna
they
pull up and
always
press
make
this
it
nigga.
seem like
Like,
does.
huh?
Community loves drama, so that brings something.
Yeah, nah, but niggas made it seem like once Brago saw me in New York, niggas was gonna throw hands. Like I straight violated. Like
no, because I don't. Moving on. So
yeah, moving on, man. So
that's how
it's solidified that Luffy the greatest supernova, right?
People says that and then leaves.
So it's solidified Luffy the greatest supernova since he done conquered Udon, right?
Man, we've been known he's the greatest.
Vergo said, "Why are you bringing it to a power scale?" And that because niggas keep saying that Kid and Law, this nigga's equals. Stop saying that. There's nothing.
Please stop saying that.
I've been telling y'all for 3 years.
You be
surprised.
I'm not talking about anybody in the stream.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
why bring it up?
because the community says this.
Yeah.
The community I interact with. And the fact that they say that the community is fucking retarded.
But like Hans,
what else is new?
I've been preaching that in Brago's Discord for 3 years.
Yo, listen, I picked up that man on
Luffy's level at all. I've been saying that.
I picked up that mantle, dog, and I just hit him with outside of Sabaudi. What can you say that?
Thank you. Who has Kid beat?
He has scars. He has scars.
Oh, well, he folded Brownbeard and nigga.
Folded Brownbeard.
He folded Brownbeard, and so then by that logic, Hans,
he's comparable to Luffy.
No. It means Bello Betty is Blackbeard level because she rose up the people to beat up Pinkbeard, right?
Oh my
Get the fuck out of here.
Facts.
That is such fallacious.
Yo, but all right, but who would win in the fight?
Trash.
Who would win in the fight? Pinkbeard or Brownbeard? That's a real conversation.
Oh, Brownbeard.
Brownbeard.
Let's have a dialogue.
Brownbeard would win. Brownbeard don't.
The thing is,
Brownbeard lost his dick. Like that would make anybody a motherfucker.
The thing is, like, we're late enough into this series to where like the power scaling is no longer as confusing as it needs to be. Niggas need to know that Luffy is the strongest supernova, that Cracker is stronger than Dofi, that the Yonko are stronger than anybody.
That
Like
Luffy beat
the shit ain't a
Katakuri.
question anymore.
That Luffy beat Katakuri. I don't want to hear that. I need to stop hearing that. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, but you know, people are gonna have mixed feelings about Katakuri. Listen, I understand. I'm a Katakuri fanboy, but like I can't act like. I always put it to people like this: like if you had both of those characters, Katakuri and Luffy, and you got the chance to ask both of them niggas, and when y'all fought, who do you think won? I feel like both of them niggas would be like, yeah, Luffy won.
No, they would. God Jr. would be like, I won the first time when that nigga ran away, but he got me the second time.
Okay.
Who is this guy, Junior? Who is that?
You're not a reliable source.
Yeah, you really aren't.
God Jr. is what he calls Katakuri.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know the mannerisms that you niggas say, bro. How can you expect me? I've been here.
Yeah,
You heard God and you heard Junior. That could only be one person.
No,
because there's only one God in that series.
There's only one God, Junior, and it's my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Thank you very much. You are saying some wild shit here.
Listen, he called Katakuri.
That ain't Katakuri's real name. Get the fuck out.
He called Katakuri God Jr. He called Big Mama G.
Mama G for Mama God.
Yeah,
okay,
Mama
now I'm hip.
Yeah, now you understand. Listen, like
I'm glad I can convert you, nigga. You see the light.
God Jr. got whooped by the D.
Yo, Jay, I'm gonna tell you this, bro. You are very lucky to not have
what does whoop start with?
Cake Island.
Toddy, what does whoop start with?
This Whole Cake Island Big Mom sucking was fucking out of this world.
Nah, Toddy, I know you hear me. What is whooped?
What does
the word whoop start with?
Wait, how do you
what does the word whoop start with?
Yeah.
BIGMOM, nigga. What's up?
W, which is what Luffy caught.
To be fair, in the older
not how I spell it in my language.
It was Big Ma'am, not Big Mom in the older trend.
My nigga Charlie speaks Ebonics.
He said big. Oh, was it really Big Ma'am?
They used to say Big Ma'am.
It was Big Ma'am, and in the beginning it was Big Ma'am.
That's because she's so strong that she needs that respect. And then niggas had to like
why do
down
you do this,
translation.
man?
Yo, if Big Mom was black, she would be Big Mammy. And it would be shit, bro.
What?
Big Mammy?
Big Mammy.
Block him.
Big Mammy.
Hold on,
I'm blocking him.
Hold on,
Toddy,
time out. She was Big Man because she had no kids. Now she Big Mom because she opened that thing.
But she been had. Wait, what? Whatever.
All right, Toddy, let me ask you this question, bro.
Big Mammy.
After everything you've seen in Wano in regards to Big Mom, you not looking at that bitch a little sideways?
Sideways.
No, I've been looking at Oda like the nigga just flipped around 400 times. I can look at Oda all directions or whatever. That doesn't affect Big Mom.
I'm with Toddy on that one. Like
Big Mom is still the strongest, just because Oda keeps on writing these horrible plot decisions or whatever doesn't change the fact she's still the strongest.
What did you say when she lost her memory?
What did I say? You remember what I said?
I really don't. I don't remember what you said.
If I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I raged. I was so mad. I thought it was like horrible writing. I raged and
I thought I
raged
missed
and
a page.
raged.
Where y'all disagreed at Virgo's like 4 chapters ago when she fell asleep. I think that's what you're thinking about.
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. Not just
Thank you.
not I didn't think it was ridiculous because you know I love her. I'm in love with her and she got hurt. I thought it was ridiculous because according to the plot, it makes absolutely no sense why her being touted as an iron defense would hit her head and get
would
amnesia.
lose to some fucking
doesn't make
water.
any
Like
sense.
that's just fucking. And the thing that killed me too is like she go underwater. We don't see her. We see her crew, and they're like, "Okay, so who's the new captain?" Like, wait, you motherfuckers ain't even look. Like,
you can't miss her.
I don't think they're worried about Big Mom.
I don't really think they fuck with
Come
Big
on,
Mom.
they're looking for Big Mom.
No,
they
don't.
moved. They moved it. They didn't even think about looking for the bitch. They were like, "Well, clearly she's dead. So who's the new captain?"
Nah, you was like,
it was ridiculous.
No, think about it. She's more trouble than she is actual help. Let's be real here.
For sure.
Come on, man. Y'all don't get disrespectful.
I like Big Mom.
Don't get your motto on right now. Don't be disrespectful.
That's not disrespectful. That's a fact. Like the fact.
She causes too many problems. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you mean causing too many problems? The only reason they broke out of prison was because Mom.
If you look at just all of Whole Cake, like a lot of the reasons that her crew got into the situations were because of how just fucking terrified.
Because they didn't want to tell her.
They were of her, and that's they fucking mama. You know what I mean? It's not like
I think people got Mama's like. I think people got her motivations and her character like twisted, and we even got a glimpse of that recently when she had amnesia and she wanted the whatever it was, the noodles or whatever, to share with everybody.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the true side of Mama. She's the Martin Luther Queen.
I agree, it is.
But Toddy, but right after she got her memory back, she called it a filthy village and a dirty country.
Man, you know nigga, she was putting on appearances, nigga. She gotta let these niggas know that she's a thug. She doesn't really feel that way.
In that case, right? Like I do think that Oda is doing like clearly there's something with Big Mom's mental state that we just haven't addressed yet. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like part of that is being worked into the plot, and that's why we're getting all of these wonky situations with Big Mom. But like just the execution of it, like to me, like you can't defend a character like that.
I don't know.
The execution of the writing in general can't be justified. Let alone
like you know,
like these writing decisions aren't unique to Big Mom.
Like
these writing
I agree, but my criticism of her is not based on her strength. Ain't nobody calling her fucking weak. That's crazy. Like that's creditless, whatever. But I'm not gonna act like everything we've seen in terms of her character. That shit is garbage, nigga.
I want to say that.
Like
I didn't say she was smart.
She was essentially dick down at age 5. Like I'm not.
How did we go?
It was 18. It was 18. No need to go there. It was perfectly legal, man.
Come on, bro.
No, Streusen was plotting on her young supple ass. Okay, he saw the young and he's like, "Oh, look at it, so smooth."
You gotta check your niggas, Virgo. That's crazy.
No, so smooth.
Virgo, take control, please. Virgo, I need you to take control of this chat, bro.
Bro, you're gonna have to edit that out.
Yeah, you gonna have to, bro. That's
Excuse me. Stop me when I'm wrong. Streusen looked at her. He's like, "Oh, so smooth."
You're wrong, my guy. You're wrong.
No, that's not wrong.
You're
that's
wrong.
not wrong.
You're wrong.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Streusen literally had meat in front of him, looked at Big Mom, and started playing with his meat. Did he or did he not?
No. You don't went too far.
No. I'm telling you. I'm sorry. Is that not what happened? Did he not have meat in front of him?
That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
So he ain't had meat.
Fan fiction on stream.
So he ain't had no meat in front of him?
No, he didn't have meat, bro. He had his wood.
Even worse.
He was cutting his wood.
He was cutting his wood.
Yo, we gotta cancel him.
And the thing about it too that killed me, like the nigga sitting there licking his lips all excited. Like, come give me a fucking break.
less.
Give me fucking break.
I expect nothing
But
less.
what I don't like though is you're implying
those.
that Mama's the type just to give it up real quick. She made that nigga work 13 years.
Why are we talking about a 5-year-old like this, yo?
Thank you. Please.
I don't know where this is going. But
It's
Vergo,
a 5-year-old big mom. It's a 5-year-old big
It's
mom.
about respect.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dang.
How was that respect?
Man.
Anyway.
Oh my god.
Dang.
Oh my
I'm
god.
just saying, like her character is essentially one that was mentally fucked and maybe physically fucked from a young age.
Well, honestly, let's be real. Two out of the four Yonko have some of the like most bland, generic, whack personalities there is. So if one of them's Mama, then fuck it. Kaido's just as fucking boring and stereotypical.
Hold on, Toddy. If Mama has a whack personality, tell me what drew you to her.
The beauty. Have you seen them tits? Have you seen that ass? Have you seen that butt?
I'm gonna shut up.
Have you seen the
I guess
punch?
you didn't into what they're into, but damn.
Yo, niggas say anything nowadays,
bro. She pulls out souls,
up,
and from the very first time she was on screen, she pulled mine out, and she's had it in her heart ever since.
Whoa. Yo, wait.
This
Yo,
One Piece or hentai?
I don't know. This sounds
it's
very
either
sexy,
one
bro.
when it comes to Mama. If y'all got some links, send them through.
Hey,
okay, I got a couple links, but
Anthony in the chat said Hans in his profile pic looked like he was looking at a 5-year-old.
yeah, Toddy, I'm sending you some links, bro.
Chopping his wood.
I mean, I was going to court that day, so but sure.
Sounds about right.
Why do you go to court looking like Usher in 2007?
Gotta go to court looking good, boy.
The gold just drip off you, motherfucker. Like, excuse me for having sauce, my nigga. I'm sorry.
You know the lights.
Gotta let it burn.
Wait,
he really said that.
Huh?
Leo Messi said Soap getting kind of sus since he said Caesar Clown was impregnating the children at Punk Hazard.
He was.
There's a theme going on with Soap.
Oh my god.
Yo, Soap, what's going on, bro?
He's a clown. He had kids locked in cages and he was giving them candy. That's not fucking.
That's funny.
So how close do you live to the nearest school, nigga? We might need to make some calls.
Actually, I live pretty close to a goddamn.
Yo, what's
school.
good, man?
This man got the 50 miles away from him.
I'm in on that Ted Bundy DJ, bro.
Hey,
I'm just saying, there's a school down the
apparently,
street.
Hans is a diddler.
Is a what?
A diddler. What?
He's
The diddler is on that.
He's a cradle snatcher? A cradle snatcher?
Oh no.
Oh my, this nigga said a cradle.
Nah, you gotta
get back to One Piece.
You gotta be above 21 to ride the day.
Wait. Yo, Toddy, are you going to Area 51 with us? Yeah, what you mean? We still on One Piece.
Area 51.
All right. Well, I mean, technically, we're
You
still
down?
Are y'all really going?
With Luffy, do you think after what we've seen that it's reached the level of Katakuri or no?
Yes,
I think he's
absolutely.
I think it's successful.
The thing is, like, I've long thought that Luffy was God Jr.'s level ever since he beat him. And the thing people countered it with me, the thing like people countered is like, well, he got one shot by Kaido. Well, you guys just saw another like extremely strong commander get mollywopped. Someone that's a zone that specializes in endurance get mollywopped by Mama. So just because he's getting one shot by Yonko doesn't mean that he's not a first commander. Those high commanders have been shown to get whooped by Yonko.
Toddy, I don't know what she'll do with them plague bullets though.
What's up?
I don't know what she'll do with them excitement bullets. Big body.
Man, those ain't gonna come into play, nigga. That was just plot convenience for this little udon. We ain't never gonna see an excitement bullet again.
Bet you money we will.
Yo, she did get tranquilized though.
Say what?
They did break the skin to tranquilize her though.
To tranquilize
That's a good point. That's a good point.
When she was asleep?
She already fell asleep though.
I don't think so. I don't think that's what they use.
Nigga, if I was asleep, a toddler could punch me to death. As long as I was asleep.
Didn't they just essentially like throw a bomb at her head and then that just put it to bed?
No, the Queen went on the top rope, fell on Big Mom's head, and then she was.
I'm not that invested in One Piece as I used to be. Like I just
this guy.
I'm not invested in the logic of
crazy how I got over the eject button.
Like theory craft in One Piece is a waste.
That's crazy,
a waste.
What?
Cool, man.
You finna get kicked.
I don't know. Big Mom is kind of thick though.
Come on, man.
That's what I'm saying. You see them hips? Them hips don't lie.
I will hold on. I will say this. Young Big Mom could get it. Like the 20, 30-year-old.
We don't have to go here. We don't have to go here,
All of you,
bro.
shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Listen. Nobody came here to listen to y'all niggas talk about y'all weird erotic fantasies about One Piece, niggas. They came to hear us talk.
Didn't you have a whole stream about the fact that Okiku's a man and how disappointing that is? Like, what are you talking about?
Oh God!
I'm just saying that like Carrot.
Why was that disappointing?
And I never said it was disappointing. I said I was fine with it, you weirdo.
No, he was disappointed because he had been jacking off to that bitch for 2 weeks, and now he feels
freaking out over the fact that Okiku's a man.
And then after, and that's the only part you've seen. But after that, it's me laughing and saying like, "Oh, it's whatever, bro. It's kind of."
I mean, look, I just hope you weren't like Steve and rubbed one out before you found out that Okiku.
You know he
we
did.
See you in that nice. We see you in that nice chat, bro.
Bro, what the fuck?
I was just saying, I feel bad for all of you hentai motherfuckers that got tricked about Okiku. Like, I mean,
it's okay, Virgo. You're a victim, and we know.
We know you don't watch.
No one's blaming you.
Do that.
I mean,
no one's mad at you.
I don't know.
Y'all niggas are weird, bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Y'all are wild.
Y'all are weird, dog. This is crazy.
Like,
Can we talk
about? We
done
covered everything in the chapter.
Oh, when I had that before,
yeah, there's nothing in the chapter to talk
about. There's something
I didn't say the Big Mom thing. That was so. Don't put that on me.
There's something that I wanted to say because I thought it was interesting because a lot of people up until this point were still, I guess, not convinced Luffy had future sight until this chapter.
Oh, you
and I don't get that at all.
I don't get it either.
It's because
Steve was one of them, and JD is still currently not on the train for some reason.
Well,
it's like I accept it, but I need time.
Why is it?
He literally said. Well, the thing is, he knows that it happened. He's just not down.
No, but I just want to understand like what was so hard. Why didn't the idea? Why wasn't it an obvious thing?
I was getting to that because one of the biggest problems that like a lot of people have with I find with this medium is they forget it's art and literature. So if something is not outright stated to them in text, they try to wiggle around it or they don't truly believe it. It's like, bro. You're supposed to be watching the panels because the panels like artwork are also telling you a story. Like, what are you seeing? Right.
Obviously,
he has it. It gives me a headache.
So that's so true. It's like you're driving down the interstate and it says Cincinnati in 2 miles, Cincinnati in 1 mile, and niggas are like, man, I don't know where the fuck Cincinnati is. Until they actually see it. I feel like but if you there's so many signs in One Piece that this shit is like a given at this point.
He was telling other people how to dodge. Like, come on, man.
Hold on.
So let's be real here. Okay, so would you say Rayleigh has future sight then?
No,
I don't know.
We don't know. There's no signs for Rayleigh, but we've had plenty of signs for Luffy.
Like I don't think you need future sight to beat someone with future sight.
But but let's think about the Rayleigh point, for example. When he was on the island and he was teaching Luffy how to dodge, he literally told him where the elephant was gonna hit him, and then he moved. That's if you want to use, but if you want to use hints, then you can just assume that Rayleigh has future sight. But here you are saying we don't know that.
Okay,
yet.
well, okay.
So
let's
how can you come at?
Does it really matter if Rayleigh has future sight?
It doesn't. Hold on. Here's the difference. So, like, if you like what we're
Matt
saying
B, you
is
got to
like
turn up the mic. Hey,
Matt, you're super quiet.
I got
you a hoe. Matt's a hoe.
But there's not a lot of evidence to say that Rayleigh has future sight, and we would. I feel like it'd be cap if we said, "Oh, for sure that nigga got future sight," or for sure that he doesn't. In the case of Luffy, like he says over and over and over again, I need that this is what I want to do. I want to be able to see into the future. You know what I'm saying? And then we get the flashback that sort of compounds and cements that idea that he's going to get future sight to beat this moment. And it's even hammered down in the anime when he has that moment where he finally locks in and starts to actually dodge Katakuri. You know,
Katakuri also.
Well, even in the manga, isn't there moments in the manga during that Katakuri fight where he was?
Matt just got here and he hard to hear.
Go ahead.
Can y'all hear me now? Go ahead.
Yeah,
brother.
we can. Just let me finish, please. But like, I feel like if you look at the logic of people that are skeptical of whether Luffy or not had future sight, I mean, at the very least, you should be skeptical on whether or not he's going to have this advanced version of ornaments. Because even though it's clearly stated that I'm going to use this to hurt Kaido, to act like, oh, well, I don't know if he's going to use this to hurt Kaido is sort of like the same thought path, and it makes no sense on either way.
Well, the funny thing about that is you can mock me if you would like. That's fair, because the points you made are correct. I'm not going to dispute them. It's the same thing with the armament Haki. It's like, okay, I see it's gonna happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And then if say he knocks out Queen, but we don't know if he's used the advanced armament Haki or not, how do we know that's not just Luffy's raw strength instead of the armament Haki?
Yo, can I just respond to the whole Rayleigh not having future sight?
Go ahead, bro.
Okay. So I think that it's safe to assume, and it's safe to say that Rayleigh has future sight.
I don't think so.
And the main reason why I'm gonna use is
he's
the second command, or he's the right hand to the Pirate King. He doesn't have a devil fruit that we know of. So then, what would his main fighting style have to be?
Using Haki.
He was a swordsman.
He was a swordsman.
Okay, he was a swordsman. But aside from the swordsmanship, he would probably have to use Haki to aid his swordsmanship.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So the one power scheme in the world that he has to use, he doesn't have future sight.
I mean, but
can I make a point though, real quick before?
Yeah, go ahead.
It not only what you're saying only makes sense if you think that future sight is the pinnacle.
Well, it is. It is the pinnacle.
Here's my point. I'm about to make a quick point. Right.
All right.
If you're saying that's the pinnacle,
I'm about to say the truth, bang.
Do you think like Fujitora has future sight?
Like, you think who?
Fujitora is seeing a whole island is better than Katakuri seeing the future. Because one, he can't see the future of multiple people. He only see it one-on-one. That's why when everybody was bombarding the wedding, he was like, it was getting to a point that I can't even control. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, like Matt, I understand the argument that you're making, Matt. It's the way I kind of parse it up in my mind. Is I agree that because he doesn't have a devil fruit and he's going up against probably devil fruit users that are fucking strong as shit, he has to be incredibly proficient at Haki. Yeah. But I'm under the assumption that I don't think that if Rayleigh with decent observation and decent ornaments, to me, he doesn't need to have future sight to beat someone with future sight. He could be proficient in it and be advanced in ornaments and still.
Okay, hold on. Let me just say this real quick because I wanted to point this out. Because when it comes to observation Haki in general, what it is giving you the ability to kind of see what's going to happen or feel what's going to happen and kind of react accordingly, right? Where it's like, let's say me and Matt are fighting like a dragon, and the dragon's going to do a tail sweep. He could see the future. He's still gonna jump. Let's say I can't do that, but I still have good observation Haki. The possibility of us both jumping still exists. It's just that he's probably gonna do it more efficiently and maybe counterattack because he has the future sight. So it's like I don't think you particularly have to have like the literal precognition to be okay. But I don't doubt really has Haki. I just don't future sight. I just don't know. With Luffy, they had been constantly talking about it. He was working towards it. The person who was a master at it was saying he's starting to do it, and you guys continue to say no, he's gonna have it until this chapter. Exactly. That was really my point.
Yeah.
So I think from what we've seen, there's different types of observation Haki. Like you mentioned with Kobe, that he can sense the feelings of others, right? Like we saw in Marineford. Right. And then Rayleigh's statement where he said Luffy can. What was Rayleigh's statement about Luffy's observation Haki? That
he's emotional. He can sense people's emotions and stuff like
that. Their emotional state and things like that. Okay, so that's Luffy's version of observation Haki. So, is it a possibility that it's definitive future sight, or is it the fact that he can sense the emotional state of someone so far ahead?
Well, we had a conversation about that, not on stream or anything, but I had a conversation about that in Discord. And during the whole cake, that was probably the strongest argument if it wasn't future sight, that he was so in tune with the other person's emotional state that it kind of gave him an edge and he could sort of react before reacting. You know what I mean? Because there's like a scene in the anime that kind of adds into that. But I mean, after Wano, like there's no like it's very very defined that no like he's seeing into the future. He says it himself. It's a closed door.
Do you guys think that do you think that Zoro has corns on his feet, or do you think like Kaido likes pizza?
Why do we do this?
I'm only assuming that we're talking about shit that doesn't fucking matter. Who cares if Rayleigh has future sight? We ain't never gonna see it.
It's just a point.
It ain't never gonna matter.
You mad corny, my nigga.
Yeah.
Y'all been talking about this for 20 minutes.
He just make an overall.
Yeah, you corny as hell, dog. That's wild.
You trying to be a dick for no reason. I understand what you're saying, Jay, but like the fact
what kind of pizza, Hans? Pepperoni?
The fact that it came out of his mouth like that to me, like we cannot argue with that anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can't argue with the last panel. That's something I can't argue with. That's game over for me. I lost, but you know.
But I understand. Like I had the same sort of train of thought during Whole Cake Island. Like, is he really seeing it?
It's like it's there. You see, it's like what you were mentioning. The context is all there, but you just don't want to accept it until you can't accept it anymore. Like
it's like you see hitting your girl from the back. Like,
but I do think I do think there is a point where like there's so much evidence pointing to one direction that it's hard to ignore all of that evidence. It gets, you know what I'm saying? Like it like this was the obvious conclusion that
I just don't think everything has to absolutely be put on text for you to understand this. This is I actually have this problem with Tagashi. He tells me too much instead of letting me see it. Like one of the reasons why I always love Samurai Jack is because it's show don't tell. It's actually obeys that rule. Jack could not say a damn thing episode, and I know exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah,
or how he feels.
That's fair.
Like you don't have to do that. That's my issue. Like they need this stated by Oda or something, and then like, okay, now I believe it. Like, come on.
Yeah, and it leads to like a whole bunch of harebrained theories and everything that are just really annoying to argue. Like you'll hear people say that there was something that happened with Aokiji versus Akainu because it wasn't actually shown to us, even though like we're given the context of the fight. It's annoying because people are so steadfast in their opinions just because it hasn't been shown, despite the signs that something.
So piggybacking on that, man. When I hear like the most annoying arguments, and I'd be like, "Yeah, man. Well, I mean, for all I know, Gaimon could beat Green Bull. We ain't seen him do nothing."
Yeah.
Right.
I think you know this very well. Like a lot of like when we're talking about like One Piece and any other manga, it's like imagine when you were in high school and you were forced to read a book. You know what I'm saying? Like they taught us
that Harry Potter shit.
How to critically read a story, understand context.
And mute yourself, JD.
Yeah.
Oh my bad, brother. I'm making some cereal. I'm wilding.
I know. I'm wilding.
Hey, right quick. What kind? Right quick. What kind? We might forgive you. What
Rice
kind?
Krispies, yeah, but I eat it with sugar.
Oh, diabetes. I bet.
Oh, okay, nigga.
they teach you like context clues, understanding, like just any sort of critically thinking when it comes to a form of literature. And I've realized, and Vergo, you know this too, just based on us talking to motherfuckers in BDA, Freedom State, et cetera, a lot of people do not understand how to critically assess a story.
Like when whatsoever, if it's not put in front of them, and
it's not explicit,
it's crazy. Yeah. Hey, Vergo, what you there in the Discord the other day?
For which conversation?
Like, so
the Janoi one.
I was just about to bring up Janoi. So, for example, right?
Get him.
I told Janoi that in My Hero, when we found out about the fucking Liberation Army, I said, for the only reason that a group like this
spoilers, by the way, people. Spoilers.
Yeah, I was about to say, make sure you let them know the spoilers are coming. Yeah.
Right. So
this is a One Piece thing.
So
I'll spoil My Hero. It's trash.
Oh my God. All right, anyway, go ahead, bro.
Ignore me.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
But I told him, I said, the fact that this Liberation Army exists.
You know what? I'm just thinking about this. We might need a different analogy.
Fuck them people. Look.
Damn, that's crazy.
Look.
I will mute you. Like, legit.
I mean, that's the only example that is the best one I can have. Like.
Well, but I get your underlying point, and I think it was just specifically Future Sight. I just think people just didn't want to accept it. They saw the context. It's like because context is everything. And sometimes you don't need to be told exactly
what
it is that's going on, but you need to read the context. That's how Oda writes, to be honest with you. He's always been ambiguous.
No, but here's the thing, though. Like, we overcomplicate the shit out of One Piece. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some things that we can take on face value. You know what I mean? And then, like, are there times where Oda does foreshadow and there's sort of context that we need to evaluate? Yes. But it depends on whether you are critically good enough to know when those moments are happening.
Sometimes niggas be wrong.
Community don't have the ability to notice those moments.
Niggas be out here saying, man.
Sometimes Oda just likes to be.
Niggas just be saying whatever they want to say. That's what it is.
Right. Oh man, Oda showed a picture of the moon in chapter 36. That's why it makes sense when Carrot transformed into that bullshit.
What was that one chapter that everybody thought something crazy was gonna happen? Everybody had to.
Yeah, but they shut that shit the fuck up.
Oh, the Zoro dying chapter.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that was dead and gone.
I mean, that's the fun of One Piece, bro. You gotta have some theories, man. You got
that.
Creative mind.
The
community would be born without them.
Exactly.
On like
I would not read
boring.
One Piece if it wasn't for like the theory crafting and the conversations.
There were a lot of theories. Like, so there's a big theory in BDA right now.
It is not good enough to just stand on the story.
There's a big ass theory in BDA right now that
a lot of cap
going to cut off Kaido's head. And the reason they say that is because of that one-shot monster where Ryuma looks like Zoro. And if that is the evidence that you're going to use to say that he's going to cut off Zoro or Kaido's head, like, that shit is weak.
No, we already know how Kaido's going to die.
We do.
Oh, Blackbeard's going to come and take his fruit.
Oh my god. Well, if it's no. But
niggas got that theory too. Niggas got that.
People think Blackbeard's coming to Wano. I don't know if he comes to Wano, man. To be honest,
niggas got that theory that Blackbeard's coming.
He needs his third Zoan fruit. It can only be Kaido's.
As a community,
Zoan fruit. You mean third devil fruit?
Blackbeard was gonna.
No, he needs Zoan to complete the trifecta. He has a Logia. He has a Paramecia. He needs that.
You don't know what word you just said, Ty.
Oh, Zoan fruit. I said Zoan.
Wait, let me rein it back in. I know y'all were talking and going off on tangent a bit, but I still want to come back to this chapter and talk about how Luffy is now currently sick. So with that happening, what do you believe is going to be the underlying factor? Is Chopper going to be the one to cure that as well as the slime?
Of course. Chopper needs this moment.
Or is that going to be something that Law is going to have to do?
No, it's Chopper.
You're talking about
no, it's Chopper. It's Chopper, and I hope it all happens off screen because that's some boring shit. I
think there's a very good chance.
At least give it like a panel.
I think there's a very good chance Vegapunk could come here. Like the fact that
wait, what?
I was hoping somebody would say that, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah, no,
to help create these.
Like there's a lot of.
So we're getting Weevil too.
There's the whole small fruit thing. There's
a lot of connection with this lineage factor. And we both know Caesar and Judge got the idea of that lineage factor from no one else.
From Vegapunk.
And if the Marines do come to this island and see the effect of the smiles, how it's destroyed this island, and once Wano opens its borders, there's a very good chance that Vegapunk is the one that has the means to save all of these people, since it's so so deeply linked to his discovery of whatever the lineage factor is. And then we can also get his explanation on where devil fruits come from, et cetera, et cetera. Like, I think
that better happen in the space of 2 chapters because Wano needs to pick the fuck up.
No, but
they need to stop introducing new plot elements so we can start tying some of these strands.
You're my guy.
I can't hear any of you guys.
You're a meathead. All you want to see is
like we just.
It's not even meathead. I just want the story to pick up the pace, man. It has been very slow.
First of all,
picking up though. It's going
no. Don't just take ever since Mama came and wrecked shit as the pacing of the whole arc. That was just like 3% of the whole arc.
Ever since we got the Wano, the pacing has been good. Ever since we got the Wano, the pacing has been good.
I think there's some elements that you might not care.
Bro, we need to redefine pace.
Are you really gonna do this? Because y'all niggas
are you really gonna claim that the pacing has been good when that's been the main complaint of most people?
No. Are you not gonna listen? Open your ears, my guy. All that earwax in there.
like I was saying, that be the same niggas that used to say that, oh, the pacing was bad, but when the pacing actually gets better, not saying, oh no, it's bad. Like what?
It's not fast.
Okay. So since clearly you have the earwax, I'll say it again. You can't just take what happened at Udon as an accurate depiction of the pacing of Wano as a whole. Yes, Udon honestly moved slower than I thought it should. I thought the last chapter could have been caked into another chapter.
Hold up, because
you are bringing up Udon. Like
because
the entire,
hold up, when the arc first started, a lot of people, not necessarily saying y'all, but a lot of people thought that we reached Wano too fast. They were like, "Oh, wham, bam, Luffy went into a war pool. Now we're in Wano." It was a lot of complaining in the community. Yes,
really?
There was a lot.
I think the complaint is more that there's things in Wano that people don't care about, not that Wano is slow.
And then once again, we start getting all the stuff with Hold'em.
I just think a lot of
it's not even EOS. It's not even just that.
I am not done.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't even know you
we
were
got
talking.
everything with Hold'em and Urashima. Everybody started saying we're going too slow. Then we finally got everything. The bathhouse and the battle at the square. We're going too fast. Udon, we're too slow. No, there is no simple medium. It seems to be.
It's not.
It's not that. It's just that.
Hold on, Toddy. Hold on. Like,
it's my argument.
Wait, hold on, Toddy. Hold on, please. Look, I think a lot of the sort of, I don't know how to put it, but like I feel like Act 1 was relatively fast pacing wise. Like we got a lot of shit very quickly. Act 2 is undeniable. This entire act has been nothing but setup, and people seeing that automatically say, "Oh well, because we're only getting set up, the arc's quote unquote pacing is slow." That's ridiculous. Like that, like you have to
intersperse setup with intriguingness. If it's nothing but setup on and on and on, then it gives the illusion that the pacing is slow. And my problem with Wano is that there are so many story elements to cover, and a lot of them just aren't interesting. And when we take a break and we focus on something extremely boring for 2 or 3 chapters in a row, you feel that because the gaps between actual plot development, true plot development, are too large. And we focus on all this stuff that is honestly very inconsequential to the greater part of the story. That's why it's slow to me.
We don't know the ramifications of all of this setup that he's given us in Act 2. He's just saying, here are things that may...
we know some of it. We know the ramifications of Yasui's death. We know the ramifications, and it was completely unnecessary.
That's stupid. But
no, it's not.
No, you could have got the same result within half a chapter doing something that wasn't so convoluted.
You see, I agree with you there because I thought that could have been a lot more efficient. That whole Yasui thing took too long.
I think
we wasted 2 months on Yasui.
It took too long.
I don't think we developed Yasui.
And personally, I didn't feel a goddamn thing when he died. It didn't do
anything. It wasn't meant for him to do anything though.
I agree with you on that, but like, first of all, in the anime, you will get that emotional impact. Like, regardless that
I'm not watching that part.
Yeah.
You think I won't take that cursor and drag past that shit?
But I'm saying,
for me, it'll be very well done. But
Yasui wasn't meant for us as readers to react to it. It was meant for people like Kanjiro. It was meant for
these aren't real people. It was meant for the audience. Everything in the story is meant for the audience. If it doesn't land, it just doesn't land.
Okay, but I'm saying, that wasn't necessarily meant for you as the reader. That was meant for those.
But everybody was mad sad. I'm like, why?
That's insane to say any part of the story isn't.
Because our perspective is supposed to be Zoro.
Everybody was mad sad.
I'm saying.
You know what, you guys, he's right. I didn't like the chapter, but Zoro loved it.
But no,
I'm saying, it was meant for him, not me.
You really don't understand what he's saying.
Out of context.
No, I get what he's saying, but I understand. But
I'm saying our perspective is not supposed to be those of the citizens of Udon or those of the citizens of the capital who knew Yasui. Our perspective is supposed to be Zoro.
Confusion.
Zoro is Sanji and them are confused because they don't know what's going on. That's supposed to be our perspective.
Can I just say something really quick? Hold on, Toddy, please. Look, again, like in Act 2, Yasui's plot point is essentially, and maybe kill what's the bitch's name? Kill Shiro?
Komurosaki.
Komurosaki, thank you. is probably the only 2 plot points that somewhat got resolved in Act 2. Everything else is literally just been set up, and we don't know when those plot points will explode and be finalized. And when we see that, it's very easy, to say, well, this doesn't have any importance right now, and because it doesn't have any importance right now, the pacing is slow. I cannot understand that link. It makes no sense to me. Does anyone understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I do, because
I disagree.
I honestly tuned out for a second. What'd you say?
Wow.
No, don't make him say it again, nigga. It took like 30 minutes.
What was the gist? Sorry.
He didn't take 30 minutes.
Bro, this is why you upset me sometimes.
I said, like, there's a lot of things besides the Yasui and maybe Komurasaki that have just been set up, and we ain't see the ramifications yet. And because we have all of this set up that hasn't really amounted to anything yet, people are saying, because this isn't important right now, the pacing is slow. And I don't understand that link.
I mean,
no, but the thing is, there have been plot points that have opened and then closed, and the result is very insignificant. And what the result was could have been reached through a quicker, more satisfying thing. The result of Yasui is done. That shit is closed.
Hold on.
The result. Hold on. The result of that is that it inspired the people, and people are rallied up and da 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 da. It took 2 months for that boring shit to happen. You could have rallied up the people in a different way that was more satisfying and did not take so goddamn long. And that is just one example out of dozens in Wano.
But that wasn't the only plot point going on, Toddy. You're ignoring what was going on with Luffy and Udon.
Well, can I just want
to? No. In terms of that's a completely different plot point.
Right, but listen, let's just follow your logic, right? Mm-hmm. And the whole thing with Yasui, we had just realized in Act 2 that holy shit, this plan that fucking Kinemon came up with just all went to shit very quickly. And this was a very bad moment for the Straw Hats and their allies, because if their plan falls apart, they're essentially fucked when they pull up to Kaido. And then we move into Yasui, who Yasui is, and Yasui's death, essentially reestablishing that plan for us. So if you felt like that took quote unquote too long or was too slow,
2 months.
But without Yasui's existence and who he was and how that played to the plot, how else in your head?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, wait, hold on.
You could have got the same result in a completely different way.
I'm asking you how. Like, if you had to do that,
I am not the author. It is not up to me to do it. But you can't tell me that the only possible way to motivate the people was introducing this character and then killing him off in 3 more chapters. If you're saying that's the only way to have motivated the people, then that's just being biased.
No one's saying it's the only way, but niggas not saying what is the better way.
Yeah, like
that's the problem I have with niggas. Like niggas,
like at that point in the story, what would have been? I'm just saying, at that point in that story, what would have been the better way to move forward?
So to me, it sounds like you're just.
I could come up with 100, but I'm not gonna sit here and rack my head around writing a story for
enough. And that's not good enough, because it sounds like you're just complaining to complain without actually giving a reason. Like,
it's not me. You can ask the chat right now. How many of you guys actually genuinely enjoyed the Yasui arc? No, not many. It was not a popular. It was not a popular thing. It is not just me.
The thing about it is,
I don't get that.
It doesn't matter if it's an arc. You're getting caught up.
Even if it's important, it all makes sense. That doesn't necessarily mean it resonated with Toddy. Like,
I don't think it. No.
I don't resonate with most people.
I don't have a problem with you not liking it.
Most people didn't even care about Yasui.
I didn't care about Yasui's death. But for me to act like A, it took too long, and B, wasn't that important, I feel like I can't really say, because I can understand in terms of the plot, Yasui's existence was necessary to keep the plot moving forward.
It was necessary given on what we know about the story. It wasn't necessary during the actual building of the story.
That's all we need.
It's also important to know
that's all we need, Toddy.
Yasui's death helped us understand Smile as well. That's what helps us.
Exactly.
You guys act like this shit could have not been given to us in a more satisfying.
But I don't.
But that's you wanted more. That's just
you guys didn't like it either. I don't know why you guys are
But
stuck
can I ask you a question, Otati? Like real
when the
shit?
Yasui chapters were coming out, we were all complaining like this shit is boring.
I wasn't.
This
I
needs to
wasn't.
pick
Y'all
up.
were. I wasn't.
A lot of us were.
We said we
Bro,
didn't care. We said we didn't care about Yasui's death because we didn't have that much invested in Yasui.
Most people don't even know Yasui's name. They call him that nigga that smiles a lot.
We didn't care about Yasui as a character. But for you to then say we don't care about Yasui as a character and then pivot to, well, that whole plot line is trash because it's inconsequential isn't true.
But I can't believe you guys are honestly taking the side that in storytelling, it does not matter how satisfying, entertaining, or logical a portion. It does not matter at all. Any of those things do not matter. The only thing that matters is the result of those things happening. That is backwards.
That's not the case. Not everything.
That's One Piece fandom logic 101.
But yeah, that I don't.
But it's not problem with what you're saying. What you're saying is right that we weren't.
Oh, Vergo, send Sage a link.
Huh?
Right. But
your problem? My problem. What you're saying is you saying that we didn't have enough invested in Yasui, so we didn't give a fuck about Yasui, right?
You did ask.
But now,
no, I'm saying more than that.
Yeah, okay, but if we would have invested more time in Yasuo, you would have said that it took too long. So it's like,
if the story had integrated Yasui a lot earlier, and there was more to do with him than just that end result, because the only purpose he served at all was what happened. There was nothing else. If he had more things tied around him, more character development, more entertainment. But the key thing is entertainment. More entertainment with the sections that had to do with Yasui, then that could have been satisfying. But all of those factors were missing.
A story is not dictated by the entertainment.
A story is not dictated by the entertainment.
No,
it's not about the people. It's about
no, it's not. That's not the case. You don't.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that was great. Then that was that's not it.
No, like what do you say? Like
you have to be entertained. What
you have to.
Your enjoyment is the most important thing.
I know it's going to be hard.
It doesn't matter if you like it or not. All that matters is Oda released the chapter.
No. Hold on. What Jay is saying, right, is that you like essentially the entertainment is not. My entertainment as a reader is not what drives the plot of the story.
Thank you.
And for you to essentially root your entertainment as to the direction of the story is
not fair.
It's so weird.
It's not the direction of the story. It is the execution. The execution with the Yasui shit was very poor.
It got done what it needed to get done. It saved the rebellion, which everybody was captured, ended up getting them free. It gave us explanation for the smile users. It had meaning.
Right. And you guys are valuing this based on the result, completely ignoring the fact that these things could have been given us in a way that was entertaining. And that's what makes the difference between a good story and a bad story. A good story is not made just based on a sequence of events. A good story is made for how you get there. If you don't give a shit about how you get there and you just look at the end result, then you are just way too easily entertained.
You have to look at Hold on.
Go ahead, Hemmings.
Remember, this is one of the issues a lot of people have with the last season of Game of Thrones. I don't know if everyone's gonna watch it. I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Thank you.
But
what a parallel.
They just decided to make the things happen without getting there in a way that made sense. It's like, okay, now,
oh my God,
she's doing
that. No, they got there.
Right?
Here's the thing. They got there in ways that make sense. They just were not satisfying.
I don't think the Yasui thing was particularly poorly executed. I actually think it was fine. I just thought it could have been done faster. That's all.
That's poor execution.
It felt like Oda was hammering. Let me finish. I feel like Oda was hammering in a point that he's such a nice dude, so nice. We all like him. Like I got that from the first time I saw him. Why are you constantly hammering his point in? The table is set, the nail's in, and he's still hammering it. What a nice guy! Like, bro, get to the point, please. That was my thing. Just efficiency. That's all. Yes, you scored 40. We took 40 shots. Just do it efficiently. I still thought I still made sense. It was fine. I'm just saying I got there quickly.
I don't disagree with there was no emotional attachment to who Yasui was as a character and why his death as to us as readers isn't that impactful because none of us gave a fuck about him.
100% on board with that.
That's fair. I agree. That's fair.
I can get that.
I agree.
But to act like,
to say that we were not meant to.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Come on.
But to say that the reason Yasui was presented to us in the way that he was, and the consequences of his death in terms of the story, what that brought about, I cannot say that it A, didn't make any sense, and B, was garbage. We only view it as garbage because we didn't have an attachment to who Yasui was.
That's not true.
But that is what else could it be?
First of all, I love how you guys are trying to say like Oda did not intend for him. You guys are just assuming that Oda did not intend for that to be emotionally impactful. I argue that 100% Oda's intentions was to make that impactful, which is evident by the fact that nigga had a goddamn flashback that took half a chapter the moment after he died, and all these close-ups on his face. Oda's intention with that was to get an emotional response out of the audience. Hold on, let me finish. His intention was to get an emotional response out of the audience. He failed. He just plain failed in that. And you guys are sitting here defending it and switching things up and trying to say things like it wasn't meant for us. It wasn't meant to get an emotional response. That is a lie and a half. It was just poorly executed writing, which is why it didn't.
And Oda's actually usually very good at getting us to care about characters very quickly. He's usually really good at it.
Your argument is predicated is we had no attachment to Yasui. None of us disagree with that. That was poorly executed. I agree. But to act like the reasoning for Yasui's character and what that brought about in the story, I cannot overall call trash because the impact that it did and how it moved the plot along was in fact fine.
And regardless, even if you agree with half of my point, my overall point is that it was a poorly executed story. It was just poorly executed. And if you admit that it was supposed to get an emotional response and it failed in doing that, then it was not executed right.
He got you muted.
You can't let me finish, bro. Like, again,
what do you mean you finished?
He wasn't done talking.
He wasn't done. Yo, just let him
I'm sorry, I couldn't tell because 5 people were talking while I was talking.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were. I can run that back. I said the same thing 5 times.
We find about useless stuff. Yo, just go ahead and finish, bro.
Right. So, again, this whole emotional attachment thing, I agree. He could have made us care about this nigga, and if we did, it would have been a way better scene.
Yeah.
But me removing myself from that and not giving a fuck about who Yasui is as a character, I understand and I can see why that Yasui's death was necessary for the plot. And in that vein, it's not that bad of writing because it was an effective way to reform this plan and give us new insight to the structure of this country overall. And in that vein, I'm fine with it. But do I care about Yasui overall? No, none of us do. But I'm not going to call the overall scene and its implications trash because I didn't have an emotional attachment to who Yasui was.
You're saying that you don't think the writing was bad because the plot was still developed in a way you're satisfied with. I do not think with writing, the only element that matters is the plot. I believe there is something called empathy, which a lot of the best stories I've ever read relies upon. Oda's intent with that scene was not solely to develop the plot. It was also meant to be an emotionally impactful moment. He completely failed in making it emotionally impactful, which to me, if 50% of that scene was for plot development and 50% of that scene was for emotional response, that nigga got a 50% F. That is a failed writing device.
What Toddy? Let's say
what Sage wanted to say is like I can totally understand where you guys are coming from, to be fair, because the thing is, like, we have had deaths in the New World that have been a lot better. Like Pound is a great example. Nobody was particularly emotionally attached to Pound, but when his grandson was there, like telling us what had happened, that hit a bit.
Tears.
It wasn't like super like whoa, like, you know,
King
some
Bomb
of them,
too,
but like King Bomb as well, like especially after we met Lady Tree, like. Those deaths felt like something happened, and I understand that Yasui, the only real thing that was emotional about his death was actually the response of the people around him. So Otoko, the other villagers, you know, that explanation of what Smiles are doing and the response that Zoro and Luffy had to those characters. But Yasui himself, I can absolutely understand his death was more lackluster than others.
But that's my
God, Sage, you always say the things I want you to.
But that's literally my overall point, though. Like Yasui, he died. Fine.
Different from him.
That's literally my point.
That's because a girl said it. A woman said it.
No, but you are justifying the writing by saying that the plot alone makes it okay.
Okay, well, I have something to say. Okay, I just thought of something. I just thought of something as Sage was talking. So think about the smile fruit for a second and how it affects people, right? You look at Killer and see how all he can do is that's not his real personality, right? Yasui has been when we first were introduced to Yasui, it was like, yo, who is this? Like, who's this really gay, like friendly? Like, who is that dude, right? So we see him. Think about it, right?
Why was he gay?
Yeah, I mean, look,
ugly ass
he
nigga.
said Zoro was pretty, bro. Come on, But okay.
Yo, Wiley.
Yeah, okay. Follow the point. Okay. So then you have him talking with Zoro, you have him running around the village. You're like, oh, why is he being so nice? Why is he doing this? That's not his real personality. We saw a flashback. We know what his real personality is. So the fact that the smile affected him so much didn't show us who Tonoyasu really was. So then we saw the flashback and we saw who he truly is. But again, it doesn't hit home because all we've been shown is the smiley Tonoyasu that no one really cares about because we just think he's some happy, smiley dude. So then when he's on stage, he's still got the same demeanor. But everybody around him knows who he is. Everybody around him knows what Smile does to people. So it hits home harder for those people around him. And that's why the effect is not for us, but it's for everybody around him. Because once Zoro's hearing the story about Smile, and then hears Orochi talking trash about Tonoyasu, it's hitting Zoro, it's hitting Kanjuro, it's hitting all the Red Scabbards because there's been so much suffering based on one thing, and it's that Smile fruit. Right. And Tonoyasu is the poster boy of what Smile has done to Ibisu Town. Right. And the fact that everybody's suffering, but he's still trying to help everybody out because they can't express their hunger. They're suffering. So what is he doing? He's feeding them. He's helping everybody out. He has a daughter that he sent away who's also suffering from Smile, and she can't even express her emotions. So it's the smile. The fact that the smile is so evil and so twisted that people actually can't be who they really are.
Man,
that's the magnitude.
Bro, we need a time limit on these points.
Which is why I said Zoro and Sanji and the crew are basically us because we are confused with what's going on, while everybody else understands who lives in Udon and who lives in Wano knows exactly what's going on.
Exactly.
Vergo,
and then it makes me think that the target audience is.
I'm disappointed. I am so disappointed that you are listening to this. Yeah, it is getting cyclical, and I can't listen to that.
We're at an impasse.
Virgo, I'm disappointed that you are listening to this and not siding with me because you and I just had a conversation.
No,
hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. Virgo, we just had a conversation.
Pretty and got a badge. You want to be like, oh, you so smart and beautiful, girl. I love when you say you're a bigot.
What do you mean? She said exactly what I said with just less Haki.
No, she did.
Yes, she did. Virgo.
Tony, yes.
Virgo.
I'm listening.
You can't tell me I didn't have a good point. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sorry. I fell asleep, woke up, took another nap, and then woke back up. By the time we were done with your point.
We're you the same one talking about
I'm not 5-year-olds, bro. I'm not fighting with you.
Hold on, I got something for Virgo. I got something for Virgo. Hold on, let me speak before that nigga makes his next point. Please. I only got so many hours in the day.
I hope the FBI at your door right now, my nigga. I hope the FBI at your door right now, nigga.
That is crazy.
Virgo. I am just
City Boys winning, boy. Let's go.
No,
my bad.
Virgo, I am disappointed.
Yo, what's one?
Don't worry, Toddy. I'm mostly with you.
This is a City Boys.
Thank you. Nigga, that nap was good, wasn't it? Virgo, I am disappointed. I'm disappointed in you, Virgo, because we just had a conversation. We just had a conversation a few weeks ago where you and I were raging at the fact that Oda keeps on writing dumb shit just to serve the plot. And this whole Yasui thing is dumb shit, which simply serves to serve the plot. and yet you are taking the side of it was good writing when it's no different than Big Mom. What they're saying, Virgo, what they're saying, you can replace with Mama. What they're saying can be replaced with Mama hitting her head and getting amnesia. It doesn't matter if we understand it. It doesn't matter if it doesn't affect us or whatever. It resulted in this, and that.
If you legitimately think that those are synonymous, Toddy, me and you cannot have a conversation.
But Vergo,
Nigga, of course, one's hyperbolic, but it is the same concept. This was a poorly executed plot line that simply served to further the plot.
I want to know what Ty thinks. I want to know what Ty thinks.
Vergo, you can't tell me that his whole argument, every time, no matter how he reword the shit, is all predicated is I didn't give a fuck about Yasui. So therefore,
no, it's not.
That's all you're saying, though. That's all you're saying.
No, I'm not. I'm saying it was poorly executed. It took too long. Hold on. It was poorly executed. It took too long.
Is Toddy's whole opinion?
That's not what Toddy was saying. That's not what he was saying.
That's the heart of his argument. I don't care about Yasui's character. So therefore, everything around Yasui's death is garbage because Yasui's death as an emotional character and my attachment to that character,
it failed. He's saying it failed. Yeah.
How are we supposed to debate if you clearly aren't even listening to my point?
That's not what he said. So let me tell you what Toddy said. What Toddy says was, in terms of writing, he tried to make us feel it. He didn't feel it. That part was garbage. Everything else shouldn't really matter because he kind of ruined it for Toddy. The fact that he tried to make it matter, it didn't matter. Am I kind of correct?
No.
What he
was trying to say was that you guys are trying to dismiss the fact that but that the part of the story that spoke to make you feel something. Like Sage brought up earlier, we felt it for Pound and so many other characters who we didn't even know for that long. He's saying that this was obviously supposed to hit you as the reader. Don't try to give me just the people reaction.
Thank you.
The reader was supposed to feel something. That was meant to be a
listen, Madara.
I feel sad. I cry.
I said that over and over. No one disagrees with the lack of emotional attachment.
He completely missed on one part of it. He's saying that's not a good thing. Like you should have been able to do better.
If the scene was predicated on making the reader feel something, in addition to furthering the plot, those are 50-50. The purpose of that was to serve two purposes. One of them completely fell flat, and we spent 2 months on that bullshit for it to fall completely flat. You guys cannot say that it still was successful because the other half was intact. Furthering the plot could happen anyway. Any way you could further the plot. Watch Game of Thrones, the last season of Game of Thrones. They furthered the plot in the most unsatisfying ways ever. But just because they furthered the plot does not mean that season was successful. They failed.
So what? I can separate the emotional impact of Yasui's death, and I can also separate the emotional impact of everyone else around him.
And that's my point. Yes, that's my point.
But what I don't understand is like the original argument was that the story this arc is going too slow. That was the original argument. But now you're saying that we don't have enough of investment in Yasui that it's pointless. But to invest in somebody, it's gonna take time. It's gonna slow down the pacing of the story.
Wait. Remember what I said earlier? I said that he was hammering a point about him being very nice for way too long. That was my thing. And Oda's usually very good at making you care about these characters very fast. He's so good at it. He just missed the mark this time.
But I think so. Like I mentioned in my previous point, I really do think the emotional connection that Oda wanted us to have was with the people of Wano and not Yasui. Because if you notice, we got so many panels of the people of Wano crying, but they're all laughing. Same thing with Toko. We even wondered, like, why is Toko such a jokester? We thought that was just her. But then you see Zoro, and everyone's like, yo, why is everybody laughing at him dying? Even Luffy's like, yo, why is everybody laughing at him dying? Nobody should die that way. So I really think the message was the smile and how it's affected the people, and someone that the people of Wano look up to, and they look up to him in such a high place, and see him suffering just like they are. Now he's dead. Now he's gone. He's like, yo, what's next?
Okay, you guys are going in circles because, we might as well end it. We might as well end it because I'm trying to reiterate over and over that just because something furthers the plot does not mean it's good writing. And you guys keep on coming back to this dumb shit about it furthering the plot, which means that we're not going to get anywhere. You guys keep on coming back to the plot development.
Ty, what do you think?
What do you think? No, let's not even.
So I'll let y'all know. I'll let y'all know what I think, but like I've been loving these chapters. I think One Piece got better ever since after Dressrosa. In terms of pacing, like the pacing in Dressrosa was so bad, I never watched the anime again. I just watched certain fights, like
pacing
versus.
I agree with that 1,000%. Same.
So what happened? Even though these editors they got hired and fired, or they switched around or whatever, Oda had got some type of new people. I forget exactly what their job was, but it was to help with like the story pacing and the writing or whatever it was to help with. And these people, the announcement came at the end of Dressrosa, and I think it kicked into effect during Zoe. And to me, ever since then, you see the improvement. Like
Zoe was super efficient. Every
fight that we thought was gonna happen in Whole Cake Island happened, and the pacing was good in my opinion. Compared to like other arcs where like they tease fights with us or we get a clash, like people thought Luffy and Crack was gonna be a clash. People thought Luffy versus Katakuri would be a clash. People thought we wouldn't even get the fights, but no, we got the fights. So right now, I think the pacing is good because like I remember when we even got to Wano in the first place, we got to Wano in one chapter. Y'all remember that? We had
there was almost nothing in between.
That's facts.
And older chapters, Oda can make it like a 3-chapter thing or 5-chapter thing, trying to reach to the next island. We got to like an important. This is the second most important island ever, probably since.
Boy, if you don't mute yourself.
Since you could say the first, just because it's a Yonko, like it's not mini Yonko. So this is the second most important island we ever been to, and we got there like that within a blink of an eye. So I think Oda is trying to. Is pacing greatly, and then Dressrosa, we didn't need. I don't know how many chapters Dressrosa was, if it was 100, if it was more, but a lot of those chapters we didn't need.
Definitely
like,
100.
The story could have been told without
100.
it.
One Dressrosa did not need at all to be 102 chapters. That was
not even.
That
close.
Was ridiculous.
Like that was fucking awful. Yeah.
And then like he had his reasons, I guess, but
no, he didn't.
Nobody likes it. Like people said.
No, he did kind of have his reasons.
No, that was garbage. That was the most inefficient, choppy, jumpy, disorganized.
I agree, but like I feel like
I constantly tell you guys that Dressrosa is my least favorite.
No, like I just feel like
I don't hate it, but
there was a need.
Yes,
Dressrosa sort of have like, for example, the Coliseum.
I don't think it's bad.
There was the reason that we had to go through all of that was so we can understand the impact of the One Piece Grand Fleet. Or
I don't know.
Fleet.
I don't know what Oda goal was, but the other problem with Dressrosa is it made it seem like because he had stuff that was dope, like Zoro versus Pika was dope, Sabo versus Fuji was dope,
great highs.
Law versus Luffy was dope, but it's like he teased those things and then showed us all this other stuff we didn't care about, but would tease that. So like we'll go from Zoro fighting Pika, now we got to go switch to something else that's boring for a couple of chapters, and then we get Sabo versus Fuji, then we got to go back. But it's like he was playing. But it's like now, if you look at One Piece, he's been on point with the prison. It's like, okay, the prison's the most interesting thing. I can get the prison for what it's been like 5 chapters already or something like that. Or like, we'll see the thing going on with Zoro. I think the boringest thing that's going on right now is what Kinemon is doing because he's not doing nothing too interesting at the moment, in my opinion. But we barely see Kinemon. So I think Oda is doing a good job of trying to show us meaningful stuff. And he's not like playing around.
I could agree that Wano in a lot of ways is weird because I feel there's so many things, especially in Act 1, that you just didn't think would happen so fast happened. Like the Kaido versus Luffy thing.
Yeah, Kaido coming out.
But they're just these stretches where I feel like these like okay, maybe if you just take this and make it one chapter, it's a little better. Right. And I mostly just feel that way about the Yasui part. Otherwise, I'm not really mad at the pacing overall. I just feel like
I think the pacing is faster than
Yeah, I got other examples.
I just feel like in terms of Wano compared to all of the arcs in the New World, like this feels like an arc that Oda has methodically thought out. Like for me when we were in Dressrosa, for me and Dressrosa,
methodically thought out the amnesia.
Let him go.
I feel like
oh brother.
I feel like in Dressrosa, like he had his starting point, he had his end point. However he got there was how he's gonna fucking get there. I think in Wano, it's very clear, especially in Act 2 and all of this setup, that he knows where he wants these characters to land, how he wants them to move, and I think that's kind of been sort of emblematic throughout this whole arc. I think it's a very well structured arc.
I agree with
nah,
that.
I guarantee that his decision to give Mama amnesia was a last minute. He's like, "Oh shit, how am I supposed to get her here again?
Nah, I don't.
I'm just gonna have her fall off the ship and hit
I
her
don't
head."
agree.
That was not methodically thought out.
I don't agree with that, and I agree what was previously
Yeah,
said because
the One
it's
Piece
like
in your
Ty,
mind
you
sound
agree with
trash as
everything
fuck.
that is good about One Piece.
no, I don't.
He doesn't. Now we go.
I'm a hard.
That's not true at all.
Definitely not true.
I'm a
Like I
hard
said, you
critic.
never listen to Ty.
Whenever I want to have faith again in One Piece, I talk to Ty. That nigga always cheers me up.
Listen,
He's
I
gonna
don't know
say
what you're
whatever.
talking about, but check this out though. So like, I think it's a mix of what was previously said and a mix of like. It's either well thought out or his goals for this arc is just clearer. I think his goal is like, Luffy's gonna go to Wano and try to liberate it. Not like Dressrosa where it was like, they're gonna try to beat Dofi, he's gonna get a fleet, Sabo gotta get Ace's fruit. Like it's not as much going on. So and he's more focused right now with this arc. So I think it shows. And then in my opinion too, I think I actually like Yasui, the guy.
You felt emotionally connected to him as a character?
Yeah, it was dope. Like in my opinion, I didn't think about it in this way, but hearing Yasui, I think for what I read, I think it's enough to say like, I could compare him to like Judge's role in Whole Cake Island where it had the same emotional impact. Like I'm not gonna just go crazy because it's Sanji's dad, because that's no writing right there. That's just like this is somebody's dad. So taking that out the equation or whatever, if it's in the equation, I think that you know the part where the Vince Smokes almost died,
right?
That was kind of sad. But this guy dying is actually sad. You know what I mean? And I cared about it. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't care about him when he was first introduced because I didn't understand why Zoro was talking to this guy who was laughing all the time and stuff like that. But when we start to find out that he's not even a real person, because the dude, well, what I mean is like he's not a real positive person. So imagine you meeting somebody, right? And they like, ha ha ha, you gotta laugh, you gotta stay positive, like, but that's like they telling you all this stuff, right? And like no matter what bad stuff happens, they always laughing about it. But then later you find out this person had no choice but to laugh, and it's like a little bit different, you know what I mean? So it gave him this crazy perspective of a character where it's like, now we don't even really know. I guess he was making the best out of his situation, but
but that kind of goes.
That sounds a lot like my point. That sounds a lot like my point.
For real,
like, just because it sounds like your point, nigga, don't mean it's right.
No, that made me care about him though. When it's like, dude doesn't even
everyone around him, and once you realize the implication of smile fruits, that gives the gravity behind his death. It's a
exactly.
moment.
And then it even reflects
the gravity that none of us felt.
I felt it, but Ty felt it.
Ty feels everything, nigga. Luffy could step on an ant and Ty would have a tear coming down.
Yo, Ty, thank you. I just want to say thank you, my brother.
Every time I want to.
He said you welcome.
Yo, Ty.
Wait. Look, so what happened with that guy, right? When I don't know what percentage you can scale it, but when over 50% of his personality is by force, dude has to laugh. It makes you wonder, like, oh wow, like more about it, and it makes you care. Like it's almost like in Naruto when you figure out that
I don't care about shit in Naruto. You're wrong.
Don't interrupt him, yo. Go ahead.
It's almost like in Naruto when you figure out Pain wasn't really that bad of a guy. You know what I mean? He actually brought everybody he killed back because the situation happened. Remember when they was fighting Pain?
Garbage.
And Naruto was like, yo, you're destroying my village.
Whack.
Look, I'm not a fan of
that was fucking whack.
Tell me that again. That is the only time Talk No Jutsu was okay.
I'm just comparing like character traits and their personalities and stuff like that, which makes you care about the character, because like Naruto's like, yo, you're destroying my village, and Pain is like, so what about when the ninjas from your village destroyed my village? Naruto like, what? They did that? He's like, yeah, the ninjas from your village destroyed my village. And then that's when Naruto's like, dag, so he ain't really as bad as I thought. And it was like this whole thing. So Pain wasn't he wasn't really a bad guy. He was like Naruto, just trying to do justice for his village, kind of. And this guy Yasu, he wasn't really that happy like that. He was just forced to smile. So that made me care about the character. It was dope. And then we found out too, because remember when he knew all the Red Scarbiffs or whatever those people was called, and it was like, yo, who is this guy? And I kind of thought he was a what's his name? Like maybe he was a spy on the low for Kaido, whatever. It's like, nah, he was the former daimyo or something. Dude had a good.
Who cares?
Dude had a good, well written out, think about him. And then as for Big Mom, I don't know if y'all remember this. Remember when Oda had these books? I think one book said Big Mom, it was hella big. One book said Dragon, that wasn't as big as the Big Mom book, but that was kind of big too. And I think one book said Whole Cake Island or something. It was 3 books. I know one was Big Mom, one was Dragon, one said something else. I don't know if he had a book that said Whole Cake and he had a book that said Big Mom, but he had a big giant book for Big Mom, and to me that book is filled with details and stuff like that, and it probably had the amnesia in there. Like that's probably Big Mom's whole plot. The story's online. I could look it up. It's like it says like Big Mom, Dragon, and one other thing. And it's like future arcs that Oda had in mind. I don't know, but if you look up, if you Google like Oda, Big Mom, Dragon, and you put book, I'm pretty sure it'll come up. Some people in the comments might know what I'm talking about. So none of y'all never seen that.
You hate to see it.
It
No,
was
you hate to see it.
it was like before Whole Cake.
Hey, Sage Wildin'.
Body bag. That nigga Toddy got body bag. What is
It was like before.
So happy, bro.
It was like before Whole Cake started.
No, what?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
We need to be better. We need to be better than that, Sage. That's crazy.
Nah, listen, I ain't judging you, Sage. Shit, girl.
Gear second, bro.
Wait, what stage do what I missed?
Don't let
Read
these
the chat, my
niggas
nigga. Read the chat.
I had
nigga.
some party Smarties.
Oh wow. You got some party Smarties. All right. I know what time you on.
He had a little party favor.
Oh, 300 more subs for demonetization.
Yeah, somebody find those images of the Big Mom book and the Dragon book and whatever the other book is and tag me or Vergo in it, because like just in my opinion, when you have he had a big giant book for Big Mom, like his book on Big Mom was like
it's like three times it's like the Big Mom book and then Gear Forward book are like similar in size, which is just fucking
yeah. Like he has a book about the size of a Harry Potter book all on Big Mom.
Yeah, there's like a
so when you
photo
have a
of
book with that much character detail. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that thing. But it's a photo of the book. So when you have a book with that much detail on Big Mom, it's hard for me to think that he would just BS her losing her memory at the last moment. I'm pretty sure all of this goes into a bigger part of the story.
If her losing her memory wasn't a result of him panicking, then I truly have lost faith in Oda. If he thought that was going to be a satisfying way.
He doesn't mess with, like, to me, all he does is temporarily,
Virgo,
like, he might temporarily do something that you might temporarily do something that you might not like, but at the end when it pays off, and it's like, oh, okay.
Did it pay off though?
And nothing. All right, look.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we have. Her whole memory loss thing is over with. She has her memories back.
Here's the thing. It's like how smart are you observing what's happening? Because it's like I went into this. I've been said like 2 years ago. I think Big Mom is the strongest Yonko, and I went through Whole Cake Island. That didn't change. I understand she was nerfed when stuff happened. That happened to like when Jinbei pushed her. I went into Wano. Even in Wano, my opinion doesn't change. Like I still think she's the strongest Yonko. Just that she's nerfed right now. So where is the like you know what I mean? Like if giving her amnesia is bad, it's like how? Like this is like you know like Orochimaru.
It was unbelievable. It was completely illogical. Completely illogical, and there was no payoff for it. It clearly only served to get her to
that shit was trash.
What when they nerfed Orochimaru? No,
when they nerfed Big Mom.
Oh, I was about to say because but when they nerfed Orochimaru, he still gave it up crazy though. Someone was fighting like 5-tail Naruto, like you know what I mean. So I'm pretty sure.
But it's not just about her fighting ability or whatever.
Even though Big Mom was nerfed. Wait. So
wait, hold on. Wait, hold on, Ty. They took his arms, but he still knew his name was Orochimaru.
But still, like they took away like 40% of his potential, like that though. You know what I mean? By taking away his arms, like you need that for Jitsu. But dude was so nasty. He didn't need that.
But he didn't trip and fall on a rock and forget who he was, and then went stumbling into the prison.
So I don't get what y'all saying because like the amnesia thing is worse than what happened. We seen this Big Mom two-shot a Kaido commander. You know what I mean? So it's like she so if and the thing about Big Mom is that she's so strong. If she did this, if she did that to Queen Nerf, imagine what she would have did when she wasn't Nerf. Cool. Keep this in mind too. When she got her memories back, Queen didn't even want the problem. She's like, yo, Queen was like, yo, it's something just different about her. Like, we got no chance. We got to run. You know what I mean? So Big Mom is too dangerous to not be nerfed on Wano. When the major arc villain is Kaido, Big Mom can't. She can't be at full health when this is not her arc. Like this is like.
I think you're rationalizing. It wasn't the right way to do it. You're rationalizing.
No,
you're giving it an excuse. There was so many other things he could have possibly done.
Just like all right,
just like
Yasui. It does. Hold on. So
shut up, Scotty.
Imagine like what's that arc called? Imagine not Dressrosa, Alabasta
Imagine
happening.
Dragon.
Like imagine Alabasta happening but Dofi's there and he's just as strong as he would be in Dressrosa. No, that can't happen. Like if Dofi's gonna be there, he's gonna be nerfed. You know what I mean? Like that's just the way that things is. Like y'all want too much to happen at once. That's not this is not the end of
now
the
you're putting words
series.
on my mouth. I never said that. I said that wasn't the right way to do that.
So listen, I don't know what problem you have with her getting amnesia, but I don't mind it.
It's bad writing.
And I think wait. If I think she's the strongest, if I think she's the strongest Yonko, right? And it hasn't made me think that she's weak or anything like that. And nobody could even provide arguments to try to say that she's.
It's not just about strength.
I'm not talking about power.
So,
she's still OD strong. I have no issue with Big Mom in terms of how strong she is.
So
I'm saying when stuff is written bad, it's written.
You're cutting in and out, Jay.
Ty's point is behind.
What does it mean?
You're basically saying, oh, I'm cutting out. Am I good?
You cut out. But you're fine now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Ty's point is that he's using the fact that Big Mom is so strong that she had to have been nerfed and she had to get amnesia for the plot to be moving forward. Ty, am I misquoting you at all or no?
No. Correct. And that her.
That's the only way you guys could think to nerf her.
No. But that's the thing. So Ty, I want to say, like, I'm with Naya on this point because I didn't like the amnesia thing either. Like, I understand your point. But it doesn't mean it's not good writing, because to me that's not good. That's just not. It doesn't make sense.
To me, it's
fit in the story. It seems like
to me,
it makes sense, but it doesn't fit the story.
All right, so to me it's good and it does fit the story. And what I like about it a lot too is I'm not trying to say that nobody just never got amnesia before, but like if I compare this to Naruto, or if I compare this to Bleach, if I compare this to Yu Yu Hakusho, if I compare this to Romy Kenshin, if I compare this to Dragon Ball Z, it's like, you know, they didn't really have amnesia, so it's like Oda's being original. You know what I mean? So I love it. You know what I mean?
Ty, is there
I agree with that, bro.
Hold on. I got a question. Ty, is there any moment in One Piece that you did consider to be bad writing?
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask that next.
That's a good point, actually.
So here's the thing. I'm not gonna bad writing is like when we get those filler chapters where like chapters like so even though it was an overall, because I think this all happened in the same chapter. So minus the other parts in the chapter, you know the part where we had to ride the fish to get on Wano, something like that.
Yeah.
Like that was a filler moment to me where it's like, you know, we don't really need, like, this is like wasting time from the actual good stuff. Yeah. So stuff like that. Stuff like that to me, when it's overdone, you know what I mean? Like even that, I don't even like as much, because we got, that was a couple of pages, so I don't like that of it when it's overdone. It's like, you know, show us the but it's tricky though, you know what I mean? Like I like action. Some people like, wow, they're riding on the fishes. This is an adventure. I don't like that. You know what I mean? So that's just my personal taste.
So you thought the Yasui shit was whack too then?
No, I think that's great, right? And it's a difference.
Because them niggas was riding that fish for 2 months.
It didn't happen as long. To me, it didn't happen for long. It happened in a decent amount of time, and then I like it was brilliant. It was like dope, right? And the way he because look, like, not for nothing, if he, all right, whatever he did with that, right? Because I don't know what it is. I'm not a writer. I'm not gonna pretend to be the writer, and I don't like it. It was moments in the story I didn't like. Like I didn't like when Ace died. You know what I mean?
See, there's a difference.
He was a dope character.
I do this, so I have issues.
Can I just say about the amnesia shit though? Because like I feel like
you call Ace dying bad writing?
No, listen, I'm not. I just said I'm not gonna say it was bad writing because I'm not a master writer myself. So I'm not gonna say no. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, as a reader, I didn't like Ace dying. You know what I mean? Because it's
let me say this about the amnesia shit. Right? My personal
White Man was old. He had to die.
My personal viewpoint on that whole Big Mom losing her mind. Like I was very fearful. Whatever. Mind, memory, same shit. I was fearful of her essentially being a tool to go against Kaido and bolstering the Straw Hat strength. Like I felt like that was lazy. I felt like that was really just a sort of easy out, and I didn't really enjoy it. The fact that she regained her memories again now, like, kind of sort of lessens that fact, but I feel like that's a lot of people's fear when they call that amnesia shit trash. Like how she got it is like how she got it, and then B, how it was going to be used to further the story.
So with me, right? Like,
y'all gonna let us talk.
You know how some people.
Yeah, wait, hold on.
All I was gonna say, I'll be quick, don't worry. So I think the thing with Big Mum and the amnesia is a lot of people were hoping for a more clever way, at least for the amnesia to go away. Like for me, I was really hoping that we were going to get either involvement with Pudding because we have a memory fruit in the story, or we were going to get like, you know, something. But for it to be a blunt force trauma felt a little bit on the lazier side. And I can understand that people were expecting something more interesting and or at least intricate from somebody like Oda. And I think that's where a lot of people have their grievances, because it's all okay that it came in at the miraculous time in Udon and that it did what it needed to do, because in reality we are reading One Piece and we're used to that shit happening. What we're not used to is the intricacy being lost. And I felt like the intricacy of Big Mom's amnesia plot was lost this time.
Her regaining it was just as disappointing to her getting it in the first place.
See, I'm gonna agree
because
with
that also lacked the intricacy as well. Something as simple as falling into the water and hitting your head when you are touted to have an iron defense. There has to be, if you did want her to have an amnesia, there are better ways that you could have made that happen.
Water, see, but you're not understanding the way that the
wait. I didn't get to go say what I was gonna say. So
you were 8. We don't let you know.
So, you know, some people there's certain things some people just don't like in stories. Now, I always think that as long as I've been doing this, I always think that amnesia is one of the laziest plot devices anyone could use ever.
How can you say that?
I hardly like it, but that's personal. That's personal. When it happened, I said I'll take it in the vacuum, and we'll see where we go. If this is like Sage said, this is gonna tie to some Pudding thing. I thought he was gonna use this in some facet to tie back into what happened with Mother Caramel and her eating them way back in the day. So I said, okay, he could do something interesting here. So I'll hold off until it's said and done. Then she suddenly got it back and fell asleep, and I was like, wow. What a waste of fucking time!
Exactly how I felt.
That's where he lost me. So like, even though I personally have a vendetta against amnesia as a plot device, generally speaking, I said I will take it step by step, and we'll see where we go, because I do think he has an opportunity.
Trash, right?
But it was a waste of time, and it wasn't good. There was no point of that. I don't understand what the point was.
So we can all see the parallels between this and Yasui, right?
Yeah. The way that the story told it, though, when the weaker crew members was like, you know, Katakori's gonna be the captain, and Smoothie was like, don't be ridiculous. This is Mama we're talking about. She's not dead. But anybody else, that's why the crew was acting like that. That would have killed them. So her not dying, but getting amnesia like makes sense the way that the story, you know, explained it. And another thing is that with the amnesia, because like I like originality, that's one of the reasons why I look at One Piece, because I seen Zoro with 3 swords, one in his mouth. I never seen nobody fight with 3 swords with one in their mouth. So the amnesia thing, like I just named mad mangas, and I can go on where they didn't even use amnesia. So it's like to see Oda actually use it, it's not lazy, right? He's probably like, you know, let me not be like these other ones. Let me give Big Mom amnesia temporarily for this. And I think it's dope. And with the Pudding thing, I think that's the obvious thing. You know what I mean? And I like how.
By the way, Ty, amnesia and Shonen is not original.
No, listen, I'm not saying that.
You said that earlier. You named up all of these battle Shonen. Like, no, that happens pretty often.
Yeah. And how they didn't use amnesia. But I'm saying, I'm not saying like, oh, Oda, he invented using amnesia with manga. That's not what I'm saying. But when I could name a big list of popular mangas that never depended on amnesia, it's like he's being original.
But you used a very key word there, T.Y. You said depended on amnesia.
There you go.
No. See, here's the thing.
That's what you said.
No. I said that he used. Look, I'm talking fast, and we're talking about a lot of stuff. I got like a lot of things. And I'm trying to respond to everybody. So I don't think he depended on these. I said that he used. What I mean is that he used amnesia, like because it's like okay. To me,
and by the way, he did it with Sabo already. So this is the second time he did it. He's done it.
It is the second time. That is true.
That's very true.
It's a little different with Sabo, but it is.
No, Sabo didn't really bother me. That was okay.
That was.
I'll just say he already did it.
Yeah, Sabo was a little kid. He got blown up.
He got blasted.
Man,
my thing is though with Big Mom's not the first time that Big Mom lost her memory, so that's why I'm not like.
Why don't you go somewhere?
The other thing is
he doesn't remember what she did to Mother Caramel.
So, but that's the thing. That's what Naya. That's why I'm with Naya, because that's what I was hoping he would tie in. I'm like, yo, if he uses this amnesia
to go back to Mother Caramel, like that would be great. I'd be on board with that, but he didn't. So it's just like it's.
But
just
what if he
I
has something planned for? What if he has plan? What if he has something planned for that already though?
Exactly.
Man, come on.
Well, I mean, if he
Man,
does,
come on.
This is what
Yo,
gets
he
tricky.
definitely, he definitely has a plan for Mother Caramel later on.
Guys, we can argue about this till we're blue in the face. Each side's not gonna agree.
Yeah,
Ty, I love you to death, Ty. But if Zoro slashed the world in half, you'd be saying some shit like, "Well, we've seen him slash a ship in half." It makes sense. I love it when Oda does this.
That's too
I
much
never seen
water.
that in a manga.
What I'm saying, all right, look, what I'm saying is
Way too much water.
based off
And
what
then
the
give me a
story
trash Naruto
it's based
example
off what
to
the
compare it
story
to.
said and based off what I like. So here's the thing, like in my opinion, right? It's just opposite thing because like to me, Puddin using her ability to give Big Mom her memories back, that's like the simplest thing that she can get her memories back, and I wouldn't like that. So it's stuff like that. Wait, it's stuff like that where Big Mom got her memory back this way. I'm invested in One Piece though. If it's so predictable that it's like I don't have to care that she has amnesia because Puddin's just gonna give her memories back, then I wouldn't be reading One Piece. So the complexity of One Piece, like stuff like this, keeps me reading it. And another thing too,
But she didn't get her Mother Caramel memories back.
No, I'm not talking about the memory. I didn't even. That was
We
a
don't even know
theory
where
I
that's
heard.
coming up. We don't know that's coming up, man.
That was a theory I heard. Like when Big Mom, when she gets her memory back, she's gonna get the Mother Caramel thing back, and she's gonna explode. Like no, I wasn't with that theory from the jump, so I'm okay with like that not going down like that. You know what I mean? Because like it.
That was just an interesting way to make her character a little more multifaceted. When she found the truth, like how does she react to it? How does it affect it?
No, she is going to find out. She's eventually.
I'm not. I don't know. I'm not saying it would have happened. I was just saying I thought
Virgo,
I
get us
thought
off this
amnesia was what he was
so
going to use.
So now what I'm hearing, right?
Virgo, please stop this.
Now, kick Virgo out the stream.
Virgo, save the stream.
Yo, kick Virgo out the stream. People don't know how to.
Kick that guy.
Damn.
Taekwon, hey, it's crazy how I got over to
Abused his powers. Abused his powers.
Man, that conversation lasted almost as long as Homeboy's point earlier.
I'm about to give Red Sniper the link.
That was a great point, by the way.
It really was a great point.
I'm gonna give my students the link to your crib, nigga.
Oh damn.
Hold on, strong leg here. Oh, you left.
Right.
What I was trying to say is that like when
Taekwon,
slow down, Ty. Yo, nigga pulled that trigger real quick, dog. He said,
I know. I'm just trying to make my last point.
Now we moving on. Taekwon, we moving on.
We gotta move, bro.
All right, it's not even about.
Ty, we moving, Ty.
This nigga Ty got me rolling. Yo.
Will it be under 2 minutes? Answer my question.
Yeah, of course it would be under 2 minutes.
Then go.
All right.
You're giving him 2 whole minutes.
No.
Hell yeah.
Look, I won't even take 2 minutes. Just please don't interrupt me. Like we put in. Like it was dope how we didn't know if she was good or if she was bad, what Oda was gonna do with it. Like he's good at taking the story in a way where we don't know. And to me, like that keeps me interested. That keeps me reading it. And then another thing that I was gonna say is that I forgot because I got
okay. That's fine.
I'm about to go. I'm about to go order some food. Don't let no one steal my car, Virgo.
Yo, Ty fell off a ship.
You hear me, Virgo?
Bro. All right.
Oh, now I remembered it. Okay. No.
Came back and
I knew you was going to do that. You did it on purpose.
This is quick. Your voice reminded me. Your voice reminded me.
Damn it, Queen.
Ain't even up yet. Hold on. All right, look. So it seems like what I'm hearing, and this is the problem. Somebody said it in the comments, is that it seems like I'm hearing people making because it seems like I'm hearing people making predictions of what they think might happen. Like, okay, Big Mom loses her memory. Okay, she's gonna remember Mother Caramel. She's gonna do like people trying to predict what happens before it happens. And then what's happening is that it's not going down like that in the manga. So then they say it's bad writing, but it's like no, it's just wrong.
I hate when people say this.
Right. Why whenever you disagree with someone that they be making predictions?
I'm never right.
I got this.
I'm saying that's more of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people
predictions to try to save it because it's trash.
If we wait, because because on the reverse side, right? Say if somebody was to say something, right? Say like if somebody was to be like, Big Mom is gonna get her memory back by a headbutt, right? and then they read the chapter and Big Mom gets the memory back by head, but they're gonna champion. They're gonna be like, "Woo!" Just like with a head.
What was that noise?
You know what I mean?
But no, none of us had predictions.
Yes, you're talking.
I know.
You're
No. Listen.
But here's the thing.
No, y'all just said that y'all thought it would tie into the Mother Caramel thing. What I'm trying to say is that when y'all predictions go right, it's never.
But that's not why we're
predictions
no,
go wrong.
I don't jerk myself when I'm right. I don't do that. I'm not a loser. I don't care. It's not important.
And
I'm
I question.
Yo, Vergo. I know that you predicted 2 + 2 is 5, but you're just mad, nigga, because it's 4.
I'm saying
you can't just say that every time somebody like disagree or is upset with something in the story. And I've heard you do this time and time again, Ty. Not every time someone is upset with something in the story is it due to a prediction. Sometimes they're just not satisfied with the logical progress.
Listen. I'm not saying y'all don't have the right to not like the way that certain things happen in the story. I'm just talking about like.
Hey.
Like you said, the Big Mom thing. You said her getting amnesia doesn't make sense, but her being alive still, it makes sense that she would have amnesia just because of the way that the story is with devil fruits. Her being a devil fruit user. It's not like this stuff doesn't add up. If the stuff didn't add up and it was stupid, I would clearly say like, yo, this is stupid. This doesn't make sense. I'd be fiending to see that. You know what I mean? But it's like Oda doesn't give me reasons to, like the stuff be making sense when I think about it.
All right,
Vergo, I got a dip, bro.
Strong leg.
All I want to know, I want to do some chapter predictions for the next
strongest
chapter.
leg.
The strongest.
So I'll let Milo start off since he just got here. All right, good talk. All right, Janoy.
Hopefully, Kid gets his shackles off and he does something. That's all I care about.
Shackles off. Oh my
god.
Not apples.
Yeah.
Shackles off.
Like, come on, man.
All right. I'll give the next one to Sage since she's dancing around.
Oh hell yeah! All right, so I think that we're gonna go probably back to the capital now because we had the zoom out of Wano, not Wano Udon, and I think that because we've had that zoom out and like we've kind of said that's been conquered, I think we're gonna move on from there for a bit now, and I think we're going into like the other parts of Wano, which is really only the capital at the moment, I believe. That's what
I'm hoping that I'm hoping that the next chapter opens up with Act 3, and then we get a 7-day time skip. And it says 2 minutes later.
This nigga was not listening.
Nah, but have you seen the anime opening, Toddy?
No, I haven't.
Watch the anime opening. Oh my god, because you might as well just be like, all right, I've watched Wano now.
Bro, the opening was ruthless. It spoiled it didn't help nothing.
Everything.
Bro, it spoiled everything.
Yo, and I was making this argument earlier that like the pacing is bad. If an opening can spoil the whole damn arc, then I'm inclined to believe that there's something up with the pacing.
Yo, Toddy, the opening shows Law. Yo, the opening shows Law using his devil fruit to nerf Kaido's immortality, son.
Wait, what?
No, it doesn't. I'd like to say it doesn't. He's absolutely pulling your leg. Don't believe it.
No, it doesn't.
He's lying.
I was about to get off right now.
Toddy, I shit you not. It does show the full conflict between Luffy and Kaido, and it's not the little one. It's like Kaido is a dragon and he breathes fire at Luffy, and Luffy emerges from the flames victorious, imbued with Haki and in Gear 4, and punches him in the face, and it's great.
Wait, have they had that episode where Kaido's even shown to be a dragon yet?
King? You
No.
saw everyone.
No.
They're all in the opening, bro. It's
it's all in the opening.
Toddy. They showed Sanji.
Yeah, Raid Suit Sanji too. Yeah,
bro,
Raid Suit Sanji?
Yes.
Get the fuck! I'm about to watch.
Toddy, you know what else is funny? I'm glad we talked about it today. They showed Yasui getting shot on the cross.
Well, with him it's tricky. Wait. With him it's tricky because just because he's on the thing doesn't mean he dies. You know what I mean?
They do not show him on the cross.
Yes, they do.
No,
they don't.
Nah, they don't on the cross.
Like Jesus Christ.
They don't know who that is, I guess.
They are really trying to convince niggas to watch the manga.
Even if they don't know who that is, they're going to see him in the anime eventually.
As far as Raid Suit Sanji goes, that's tricky because in Dragon Ball GT, didn't they show them being monkeys? Like, I mean, not monkeys.
Yeah.
They showed them with the monkey Super Saiyan thing before we.
That doesn't make it right.
Well, Japan doesn't care though. They don't care.
Sometimes it's tricky. Sometimes they want to show you stuff to be like, oh, like who, like that's Sanji. Like, oh snap! Like
I can't believe they
gotta wait
actually
for this.
show Luffy fighting Kaido in Dragon Form.
but
we don't know if that's canon though. Like to be fair, you know what I mean?
Well, regardless, like everybody knows what Kaido's.
It's in the manga, bro.
Hold on.
They all know he's a dragon man.
No, opening fights aren't canon.
It's just funny to me because I remember
Sage
at least
said that-
with Snake Man, they shaded it until they showed him. Like,
no,
and they're like, here's the entire Wano up until Yasui. I was like, yo,
Right,
what?
and as manga readers, do you remember how much speculation we had on his fruit? Could you imagine if like the cover art for 30 chapters before Wano was a dragon Kaido? That'd be so fucking disappointing.
I would have been Yasui on the cross.
I can't believe that.
It shows Yasui on the cross. It even shows what Kirishiro is. Who Kirishiro is.
Yo, Ty. This is unrelated to like everything. My bad. Quick tangent. This is funny. You reconnected me with an old friend I had from like 10 years ago, bro.
Wait, on Twitter?
I don't know. Like he just, I don't know how he found my number. He just did. He had. I think
how
he said
I did it then.
He had, I'm about to tell you the story. he had heard me in a couple of Bravo streets, but he wasn't really sure if it was me until the last one I was in. And whatever you said in Dritz's head to head, this guy somehow found my number and said, "Yo, you got to get me in the stream with Ty, man. I need to talk to him." I'm like, "Who is this?" So he told me who it was. I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck?" Like, what? I used to play Melee with this guy years ago. Like,
YouTube is crazy, man.
Whatever you said with the Dritz, I need to find out why.
No, Ty, you reconnected me with a friend of mine too.
Oh man,
because like we were talking one time and you made an excuse for some whack shit and I thought I was going crazy, so I had to go to my psychiatrist and we've been hitting it off.
Man.
We've been hitting it off.
Hey, hold on.
What's up, people?
What's up, strong leg?
Hey, don't call him
What's
that.
up?
Nah, he's
Right
not.
on.
You got the strongest leg of all time. Put respect.
Quick tangent though. I want to give the mod of the day to my boy Roroni.
Hey, go.
That's what it was today. Ty, you gonna go off with the mod of the day this time?
But you said nah.
You was like, Billy. All right, EOS, the floor is yours, bro. Give me your chapter predictions.
My chapter predictions. I think we're gonna go back to the capital. We're gonna see the interaction between Law and Hawkins and how that's gonna play out. We're gonna be most of the next chapter.
Naya.
All right, so let me give you the spiel. All right, so you're gonna see Hawkins mountain on the. I'm joking. I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it. I'm not gonna do the Hawkins right. I disagree that we're gonna jump somewhere else. I do want like Kid to do something, just something. Like I just
garbage. I don't understand.
What do you mean? He's been looking. You saw him looking.
I just needed to fling some metal. Please do something. Fling a metal. I don't know.
But is garbage, man.
But yeah, I think we'll jump around to all the other stuff. I think we'll probably see what happened with some of the aftermath with the Yasui thing. See where everyone's at right now. Possibly jump to what the Minks are doing. It's been a while since we've seen them. Shit like that. I think we'll have one of those kind of chapters. I wouldn't be surprised though if we did kind of stay in Udon for like a little bit of the beginning of the next chapter and then you move on to after that. But I need a Hawkins a lot. What's good with that? Like I need to see my boy.
That's awesome.
I know we're not seeing shit.
One Piece has had its yearly requirement of action met within the last 3 weeks.
That
we didn't get no fights.
Yo, Donnie, you
need to see the rest.
You gotta stop, Donnie.
and then on the very last page, you're gonna see a SoundCloud link, and then Apu gonna come out dropping mixtape.
Oh my god! Who the god? Let's talk about that.
You're gonna say check her out. You're gonna drop a banger, and then check
we do need to see the rest of
featuring Soap.
Oh my god.
Featuring Brooke, bro, on the hook.
We do need to see the rest of Law versus Hawkins.
Taekwon, you getting in line? Go ahead.
Who?
Taekwon, go ahead, give your predictions.
All right. So my predictions on what's gonna happen next. I don't really have predictions. I'm just like I'm just like
He needs to
enjoying
go
the story. I'm not really trying to like predict what's gonna happen because as I already said, that causes a lot of people, not liking
Ty is
not liking the
prediction. You
chapter.
should have known
No. But I think I agree with what's been said. Like we're gonna go back to the capital. And I don't know if this is gonna happen, but it would be nice to see the rest of what's gonna happen with Lauren Hawkins because he seems to have Law in a trap. Like
You know me.
I love how
the more
Ty's
Hawkins
like,
I see, the better.
I love how Ty's like, I don't like predictions or whatever. I think that's the reason why
no
y'all
predictions is
niggas are stupid.
no.
I think
I made
that's
a
the
lot of
reason why y'all niggas are
predictions.
stupid. But
No.
I think in the next chapter we're gonna figure it
No,
out.
I made a lot of predictions. I made a lot of predictions, and it's fun when they're right. But I think like right now, like with the stuff that's happening right now, all the predictions is doing is like it's pissing people off. You know what I mean? Like, and it'd be funny.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
Ty,
So,
you're thinking about the common rabble. Don't disrespect us. We're not them.
Oh God, we got pressure line around here.
I got functioning brain cells.
Like,
wow.
I don't think anybody's gonna take it.
I can read
like that, huh?
I don't think anybody.
Bro.
I don't think anybody here is gonna take it to that extreme. But some people, just because like we don't go to the flower capital and they think we're gonna go to the flower, they're gonna be mad at that. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
oh my God, bro.
Actually, I think I'd be quite glad if we don't go to the flower capital.
Like,
I'm telling y'all, it's gonna start with that Greek.
I want to see Big Mom versus I want not versus
Big
my bad.
Mom and
I want to see the yeah. I want to see.
She's gonna be asleep for a minute, you guys.
I think her crew's gonna save Big Mom, to be honest.
Yeah, what's good with
hold on.
That'd be the first 10 out of 10.
It's a problem with that. It's a problem with that. Like so it's like I like where the whole story is going, and the amnesia is kind of the trigger for it because without the amnesia, Big Mom doesn't get captured. So that's the thing. Even if I think some of y'all got it mixed up. The amnesia, for all we know, the amnesia could be so Big Mom can get captured, not really for any of the other stuff that happened previously. Or it could be a
guys for the
stuff.
last time.
But,
just because a plot happens because something happens doesn't mean that the trigger for that was good. Like Daenerys burnt down. Daenerys burnt down that whole fucking city.
You have to get there in a seamless manner that is logical and consistent with all the other things that happen.
I think I just don't think it was good, but it was definitely logical.
Toddy, what is with you and spoilers, bro?
You can't help it.
It was an accident. It was an accident.
Rest in
it's
peace.
Okay. You didn't say what, and to be fair, she is a fiery lady. It's all right. Just pretend it didn't happen.
I'm sorry, guys. I fell down a waterfall and hit my head. I forgot what.
Everybody, so like everybody is different. Like if y'all have complaints about the chapter, you have the right to. But for me, I'm enjoying this a lot, and since I'm enjoying it a lot, in my opinion, this stuff has been written great. Because the thing is that, right? Of course, Big Mom crew wants to say Big Mom, but they're too weak for that. They can't get her back from Kaido. So the pretty much the only choice they have is the same kind of choice that Luffy and Capone had on Whole Cake Island, kind of where it's like it's best for him and Capone to team up to try to take out Big Mom. So now it's kind of best for Big Mom's crew and Luffy to try and get Big Mom back. With Luffy, it's a little bit debatable if he should help get Big Mom back or not. But Luffy just said in the chapter previously that anybody who's a possible ally shouldn't be standing in the way. So this could be and then it's still a whole thing with what's his name with Big Mom's daughter. What's her name?
Or Smoothie?
No, man, this is an awful lot of predictions from the prediction.
No, the one
I know.
The one that. No, this is not a prediction. I'm just talking about stuff.
I do think that's a good idea.
No, the Lola or something like that. The one that said because she still said Big Mom will be an ally. Or Big Mom will help you. And Big Mom has not yet to help the Straw Hat.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
So
you talking about Lil G?
Yeah. So maybe after Luffy. Maybe after Luffy and the Big Mom crew help rescue Big Mom or whatever like that, she can finally help Luffy since that's what my daughter said. Or at the same time too, Big Mom doesn't have to be in as much trouble as you think she is. She still said, remember when she was like, Kaido, you owe me that favor? And he was like, come on, that favor was years ago. Big Mom was like, well, it's a lifelong favor. Big Mom could go to Kaido and she could be like, okay, that favor, it's time to let me go. And that's it. The favor's done.
Man,
and Kaido can just have to let her go.
Ridiculous.
No, because you got to respect the favor. You know
I don't know.
He's going to let her go and she's going to turn around and eat him.
No. Because it's different. You seen how Queen didn't care about taking off Luffy's cuffs?
Boys.
See how Queen didn't care
I
about
haven't given my predictions.
Yes, you did, but go ahead.
No, I didn't. The accurate thing, that was a prayer.
I gave you the floor, but you chose
a prayer.
You didn't give me the floor.
I didn't give.
You gave me the floor, but Kai was breakdancing on that shit. There wasn't no room to stand.
Yes, Sage.
I was gonna say.
What about me?
I'm so sorry. That was my bad.
Dottie, Sage is talking.
Next one, Vergo.
Sage is talking. All right, Sage, I'm sorry. I got to put you on the sideline real quick. I got to get on this pedestal. So, what I think is going to happen.
Ladies first.
Yeah, the disrespecting.
Damn.
Like
Yeah,
I
Toddy
thought
said
this was
fuck
Sage
that,
already
respect.
gave
yo.
her prediction.
Let you.
She already
Yo,
gave it. She said she doesn't want to go.
Sage,
Oh, that's not a prediction,
talk.
is it?
We want to hear
Talk,
what she's
girl.
saying.
I
Go
think
My
it'd
ahead.
be
I
bad,
can't
really
Sage.
believe
cool.
you would aggressively cut off an unarmed woman, son, like that.
I thought she gave her prediction already. I'm sorry, Sage.
It's okay. I think it'd be really cool if we actually got a little snippet of the Big Mum crew and how they're doing right now. Because if we're going to cut away, it'd be cool to cut away to completely different things altogether. Like Kaido and Big Mum would be really cool too. But seeing what they're doing, where they're lurking, rather than them just storming in at some point randomly, I think that'd be nice.
Would you be mad? Would you be mad if they're chilling somewhere eating cake and stuff?
Nah, I'd be
Oh,
loving it. What do you mean? That's what I do.
All right, now Toddy goes last. All right.
I want to
What?
apologize. I want to apologize. And then my prediction is that we're gonna start in Udon.
All right,
And
everybody have a good night. Like the stream.
Good.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I think we're gonna start in Udon, and
Mhm.
everybody's gonna be sick. And Luffy's gonna put his hands up in the air, and he's gonna tell everybody to put their hands up in the air, and a spirit bomb is gonna form. And then he's gonna shoot it at Kaido, and Ty's gonna call it the best chapter of the year.
Is that what we're doing? I thought
you have a weak joke because it's never been nothing
You
ridiculous.
trolled twice.
On record.
I'll tell him. Okay, I'll say it for real. I'll say it
No,
for real.
I
I'm
don't.
just kidding.
I don't want to hear it. Milo, your turn. Go.
So here's what I
Really?
think
I don't get it.
is gonna happen.
Now you
I think.
you don't have the strong leg, Toddy.
Thank you.
Milo
I
and that
think
fucking strong.
We're cutting back to
That is
Sanji.
the greatest thing he's
to
ever said. in his life.
Sanji.
Hey, hit that Jose.
And you know what happens
Yeah,
when we see
yeah,
Sanji
yeah. Oh,
square
so
up with Drake. You know, I'm not gonna say it because Vergo don't appreciate
I
it.
just say it already,
But we
damn it.
know he got that strong leg, and ex Drake is gonna get kicked all in the grill. He might lose some teeth. He might lose some teeth,
bro.
right? And
Really
Zoro
had nothing on Sanji.
is gonna be struggling against Kiroshiro finally, because he's not the end all be all of the verse.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I would love if we get Big Mom's crew intercepting Queen, and I would love to see Smoothie do something. Anything.
When Oda hates women.
Throw an attack. Do anything. Smoothie.
She's looked sexy like 45 times. What are you talking about? She don't do
That would be dope if the crew confronts Queen. But the tricky thing with that, they would have to be on point, like in terms of like to even be there in the first place to intercept that.
Nah, Smoothie.
They would have to know where to intercept them at.
Yeah, exactly. So
right,
no. I mean, maybe they have Big Mom Beervy card. Wow. Maybe they could do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what happens. All right.
But then the tricky thing with that, like what that would be dope to see is that would kind of cause the chaos problem where it's like, okay, so Big Mom got kidnapped just for Smoothie and them to take Big Mom back. Like, you know what I mean? Like now we have two Yonkos on Wano.
I think Smoothing them are strong enough to take her back. Man.
Nah,
yeah, can I get my real prediction though, Virgo?
After
you really pushed me to the back of the bus like Rosa Parks.
Smoothie. So this is just my opinion.
Man?
Smoothie does not
Hey,
have
Ty,
that brain.
man. Ty, man. What's up, man? Let me go, man. Hold on. But listen. When we come back to the chapter, we about to leave Udon. Let my man Luffy, get treated at an age by Chopper. We gonna go to that Law and Hawkins fight, and hopefully we end the chapter with Big Mom pulling up on whatever island on Kaido, and it'd be like, all right, that's the end of Act 2. I'll see y'all in a week with Act 3. Boom.
I like that.
Boom, bam. All right, Toddy, stop trolling and actually give a prediction.
All right. So I think we're gonna go back to the capital, and Zoro is gonna be struggling against Kiyoshiro.
Somebody just said that.
Nigga, predictions overlap. Let me finish because they ain't said this.
The way he said that.
Nah, I just think it's kind of lazy that you just took somebody else's prediction and just ran with it.
He's gonna add a bit.
On the same stream too. You didn't even you didn't even take somebody else's from a different channel prediction. You just took somebody on the same stream.
Bro, that happens literally every time we give these predictions. Multiple of us give the same. So I think he's gonna be fighting Kirishira and he's gonna struggle. And I think in the midst of all the battle, Kaido's gonna appear. And Zoro's gonna throw an air slash, cut that nigga in half, and Ty's gonna say it's the best chapter of all time.
I thought you stopped trolling, yo. I thought
See? Wait.
That shit was garbage too.
Wait. So
Come
I'm
on,
glad
man.
I'm glad I called you out on it. The reason why he made that joke is because he had nothing that made his special. He just took somebody else's prediction and ran with it.
He really did.
I mean, I don't really care to give a prediction.
Yeah,
I just know whenever
mean,
something.
all right. So, but the person, they worked hard on that prediction. Like they thought about it after birthday.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
If you worked hard on a One Piece prediction, you need some hobbies.
Hold on, Ty. Don't tell me I worked.
But you in the One Piece stream.
2 sentences.
For real.
We're not gonna do this. Nah.
You still.
You
still put effort.
That is it. We are done with predictions. We are done with the stream, guys.
Peace.
Shout out to all the niggas who watching the stream, man.
Shout
Make
out to
your own
everybody
predictions.
everybody that came through. Y'all were dope. That was
Shout out
Let's Sage talk because it looks like Sage wants to say something.
I just want to say thanks for listening, guys, because you're all good eggs. Thanks, Vergo. I love
She's
you.
lying.
Yeah. Sage is a great MILF.
A clean 30 of y'all mid.
Why would you call her a MILF? She's like 26.
She's my MILF.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you had a birthday on there.
You heard me.
Strong leg.
I mean,
hey, I got more than a strong leg. But hey.
Yeah, I have a strong heart, man.